Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Football Live, where we bring you the goals as they go in the biggest games with the best players through our awesome team of reporters around the globe. Now, everyone's still talking about that controversial late Liverpool winner that saw the Reds extend their lead at the top of the Premier League to 4 points. We'll delve into that later in the show, but all eyes today are focused at the Etihad and a huge Manchester derby with both title and Champions League permutations. Before that, though, we've got a whole host of football to bring you in the WSL. A mouth-watering North London derby is already underway. We've just kicked off in the Premier League, where it's surely now or never for Burnley if they're to have any chance of staying in the top flight. Nothing less than 3 points will do at home to Bournemouth. It's first versus second in the Eredivisie as PSV host Feyenoord. In Italy, we'll see if Empoli can continue their great run of form at home to Calgary. In the Bundesliga, Bayer Leverkusen could open up a 10-point gap at the top as they travel to relegation-threatened FC Köln. We are truly spoiled this afternoon, and it's time to get straight into the action. Now, back in December, Tottenham women beat their illustrious North London rivals for the very first time in their history, looking for revenge and to close the gap on league leaders Manchester City, or an Arsenal team that bounced back from a disappointing defeat to West Ham with victory over Manchester United last time out. Molly Sumter is in place at a very, very packed Emirates Stadium. What's going on? Good afternoon to you, Molly.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dean. You're right about the packed stadium. It's an almost full Emirates here for the WSL. First time ever back-to-back matches. Very, very early pressure from Arsenal, as you would expect. The favourites going into this game. A bit of haphazard defending from Spurs, who took a little while to settle into this game. But in these first 30 minutes, we've been treated to some great battles, namely between Grace Clinton and Katie McCorb on that left-hand side. Main shot to give you from these opening stages, Jess Naz of Spurs having a great long-range shot, just gliding off of the crossbar. So far, a little bit end-to-end, nothing too clear-cut, but looking to be a very exciting game. 32 minutes down here at the Emirates. It's Arsenal 0, Tottenham 0.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Molly. It's a real blood and thunder game going on at the Emirates Stadium between Arsenal and Tottenham in the WSL. Let's switch our attentions to Turf Moor, where Burnley are a whopping 11 points from safety, and their manager Vincent Kompany was given the dreaded vote of confidence by the board this past week. It's safe to say that home form has had a large part to play in Burnley's dreadful season, as they've lost 10 times already at Turf Moor this season and have only one victory from their 13 games to date. Bournemouth could claim a first ever league double over Burnley with victory today as they look to recover from the exit of the FA Cup at the hands of Championship side Leicester City. Richard Bond is in place as the Clarets take on the Cherries. A very warm welcome to you, Richard.
Good afternoon, Dean. Good afternoon, everyone. And what a contrast in form. Burnley only lost one. Just in 23 games they came up as champions. We just got underway here at Turf Moor, and it's 0-0 at the current state of affairs. And as we reach the business end of the season, both teams will be targeting 3 points from this game, particularly as they both haven't won in this calendar year. Burnley manager Vincent Kompany's made 3 changes from the 3-0 defeat last time out. He's brought in Cullen for the suspended Brownhill, and it starts with Vitinho and Larson up top as well. Bournemouth concerning as well, 7 games without a league win. And so they pulled them back into relegation reckoning. They're unchanged though from the team that lost to Man City last week. They also played in the cup and went out in the week 2. But big news for them really, Dominic Solanke does start after passing the late fitness test. Burnley have had the better of the fixtures at home against Bournemouth, losing just once in the last 40 meetings here. But at the moment though, not much really happened in the first couple of minutes. It's still Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for that, Richard. Vincent Kompany, as player and manager, has lost just once against Bournemouth in his career. That was the reverse fixture, which was actually Andres Iriola's first victory in charge of Bournemouth. Let's switch our attentions then to the Eredivisie. A big, big game as league leaders PSV could all but clinch the title with victory at home today against second place Feyenoord. The gap at the top is already 10 points, and after today's round of fixtures, there'll be just 30 points left to play for. Now, this is the fourth time that these two teams have faced each other this season, with Feyenoord coming out on top in the recent cup match back in January. But with PSV's perfect home record, it will surely be a tough ask for the visitors to get anything from this one. Mark Thomas is at the Philips Stadium with the latest team news ahead of kickoff. Good afternoon to you, Mark.
Good afternoon to you. I'm wearing my clogs as I speak from the Philips Stadium here in Eindhoven. As you mentioned, top of the table battle today, PSV Feyenoord, first and second respectively. Although, as you mentioned, separated only by 10 points. Both teams are in good form, having won 5 out of the last 6 matches. Now, PSV are coming off a very impressive 7-1 win last weekend at Zwolle, and are unbeaten since a 4-0 loss to Arsenal on September 20th last year. Peter Bosz makes 2 changes in Mario Jr. and Marek Tillman for Isaac Babada and Verman. Feyenoord are riding high. They haven't lost since PSV beat them on December the 3rd in the corresponding fixture. They make 2 changes also from the team that beat Almere City 2-0 last week. Jankuba Minta is in, and Anthony Miabo for Depayo and Luka Ivanisevic, the Croatian. A lot at stake at the summit today. Let's see who comes out on top. Kickoff in about 20 minutes.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Mark. Big, big game at the top of the Eredivisie. Let's go straight back to Turf Moor with the home side desperate for 3 points. Have made a pretty good start, Richard.
Yeah, very good start from Burnley. They've started strongly, and there's a good chance there. It fell for Ogebert, the Frenchman. He's just found himself free on the edge of the box. Cross came in from the right-hand side, taking a touch and tried to get a shot away. Not really got enough power on it, and it's gone straight into the hands of Neto. Half decent opening there for Burnley, but a strong start. But it's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. I can tell you, Villarreal have taken the lead against Granada in La Liga. Alexander Serloff with the goal after 8 minutes to give the home side the lead. So in the early stages of some of our featured games here on Football Live, it's time to check in with John Kane and get the latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Thank you very much, Dean. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. In the English Premier League, 7 minutes gone, it's still 0-0 between Burnley and Bournemouth. Burnley at home, they are just gone down to 3.25 for the win. The draw has gotten to 3.60, and Bournemouth gone up to 2.15. In Italian Serie A, 78 minutes gone, it's still 0-0 between Verona and Sassuolo. Verona are 5.50 to nick it, and Sassuolo are 1.44. Sassuolo are 5.25, so slightly favourite to win the game. First go back to 5.50, and a draw is 1.44. In the French League 1, the second half, 49 minutes gone, it's Toulouse 0, Nice 1. Toulouse are 11.0 to turn it around, 4.33 for the draw, and Nice are 1.36 for the win. In fact, the Italian Serie A has been suspended at the moment. In the Scottish Premiership, it's half-time between Hearts and Celtic. Hearts are leading Celtic by a goal to nil. However, Hearts are 1.44 for the win. The draw has gone down to 4.20, and if you fancy Celtic to win that game, they are 7.50. I think that's a very good price with the form that Celtic are in. Of course, Villarreal, as Dean mentioned, are leading Granada by a goal to in that early goal after 9 minutes. Villarreal are 1.33 to win the game, 5.50 for the draw, and 9.0 for Granada to turn it around. Now, we love goals here on Football Live, especially when Dean Kilford is presenting, because we get loads of goals. So if you think it's going to be over 3.5 goals in the Premier League game between Burnley and Bournemouth, it's 2.80. And if you think over 4.5 goals, it's 5.25. Of course, all these prices are from NairaBet and is all subject to change.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much. As always, John, give us the latest odds powered by NairaBet. Of course, those odds are subject to change. And some of those odds that certainly will have changed have come in Serie A and the game between Verona and Sassuolo, as Verona have taken the lead 10 minutes from time, whilst John came just literally after he gave the odds. Karol Swinderski with the goal to the home side the lead there. Verona 1, Sassuolo 0 is the latest score. Before you think about spending any pennies on the game between Hearts and Celtic, I should also point out that Celtic, also a goal down, are a man down. They had Yang Hun Huan sent off after 16 minutes. So they've been playing with 10 men for the majority of that first half. Hearts also had a goal disallowed deep into stoppage time. A very, very tight VAR call for offside in that one. That will give you the high odds for Celtic, but stranger things have happened. Celtic, of course, generally win the majority of their games, although recently they have struggled and handed the initiative to Rangers, their Glasgow rivals, although Rangers dropped points themselves yesterday with a draw against Motherwell. Okay, so let's go and check back in with the North London derby in the WSL. Molly Sumter is in place at the packed Emirates Stadium. Arsenal women taking on Tottenham women. We're just about to approach half-time. Any sign of a breakthrough in the closing stage of this first half, Molly?
I tell you what, Dean, Arsenal are getting very, very close. Got 41 minutes on the clock and it is still 0-0, but Tottenham are packing out their defensive area. Arsenal really getting forward as much as they possibly can, utilising their strength on the wings, but Tottenham just keeping that low block going so nothing can get too close on target just yet. Arsenal, I think, have had 10 shots overall, just one managed on target. I think that says it all. An interesting end to this first half. They will keep you updated. For now, it's Arsenal women 0, Tottenham women 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Let's get straight back to Turf Moor, where the visitors have started to settle, Richard Bonds.
Well, it had been all Burnley, but Bournemouth have had their first chance, and it was all from Bournemouth's undoing, really, as such. And the defender, Asino, really goes really wildly in the challenge. He's missed Tavernier, he's gone past him. He's had a nice bit of space to try and pick out a cross into the box. He's tried to find Semenyo coming in on the back post, but Charlie Taylor's just come in with a sweeping tackle just to get a brilliant block, and I think that would have been a certain goal. But, all good signs for Burnley. Could have gone behind there, though, but it's Bournemouth 0 and Burnley 0. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. So still goalless. And there looks to be a slight injury concern for the visitors as well. Senesi is just being helped off the pitch. So an early change. And Chris Mepham, the Welshman, is going to come on to replace him. So an early injury and a bit disruption at the back for Bournemouth. Still Burnley 0, Bournemouth 0 after about 10 minutes in that game. Let's just go and check back into the games yesterday in the English Premier League, and we'll start with the very, very controversial late goal from Darwin Núñez that secured all 3 points for Liverpool away at Nottingham Forest. Now, the big controversy about this was a head injury in the box as Nottingham Forest were attacking. Nottingham Forest had possession when the whistle was blown. When the play restarted, the referee, for some unknown reason, gave possession back to Liverpool, despite Nottingham Forest being in possession when the referee blew the whistle. Liverpool, from that resultant possession, won the corner, which ultimately led to the winning goal. We caught up with Jurgen Klopp at the end of this game to give his take on that last-minute victory for his side away at Nottingham Forest.
It is super important. A goal which gives you super 3 points is always super decisive and super, especially for him, super deserved. Game number 4 in 11 days is always difficult with our squad situation. It's super difficult. We didn't start particularly well. And then second half, the game gets more and more difficult. Opponent is fighting for the result. Bring on Taiwo. Is obviously a real handful and a proper target player for counter-attacks. Elanga and Hudson-Odoi around him. Gibbs Wright now with the space there. That's really tricky. We defended that exceptionally in the last moment. And after 98 minutes, a wonderful ball, a really wonderful piece of football. And Darwin is there and scores the goal. Really cool afternoon for us in the end.
A big away goal there for Liverpool, scoring 3 points. And there's been a big away goal in the English Premier League.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And Kluivert is the man at the right place at the right time to finish for Bournemouth as they've taken the lead at Turf Moor. Is it going to be an 11th defeat of the season at home for the Clarets? Well, time will tell, but they've made the worst possible start. Justin Kluivert scoring for the Cherries to make it Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1 after just 13 minutes. So just checking back in on that game yesterday. Of course, Jurgen Klopp would be a man that was relieved. We'll hear Nuno Espirito Santo's version of events. Of course, he was slightly more aggrieved on that. But before we do, let's go and join Richard Bond to tell us about that Kluivert goal for Bournemouth.
Well, it's very typical of Burnley this season. It's a really, really poor goal. It started from a goal kick from Bournemouth, lobbed forward, a couple of bit of head tennis in the midfield. Ball's just gone and O'Shea's missed it. Kluivert's just gone and raced on. He's cut inside. He's just turned on Trafford and he's just launched a shot in. No challenge there. Company's looking absolutely furious. It's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1 with 14 minutes gone.
That's right, Richard. It is a familiar tale for Vincent Kompany and his players, and for those home fans that have seen a complete contrast at home this season compared to the 14 wins they enjoyed in the Championship campaign. Let's go back to that game yesterday, controversial at the City Ground. We heard from Jurgen Klopp. Let's hear from a slightly more aggravated Nuno Espirito Santo.
We limited very well Liverpool, a very good team. We were aggressive, didn't allow situations. There were chances, but not too many. We had chances, clear ones. It's been happening for a while with us. We play good, we combine, we have chances, and we are being punished in the end, so it's tough to take. Yeah, like I said, I think we limited well, we defend well. A lot of hard work, a lot of compensations and balance. So hard work. Always when you play against a team like Liverpool, you have to cover your teammates and the helps, the 2v1s, always pressure on the ball. So really well.
So a rather calm Nuno Espirito Santo after he'd regained his composure. It was red cards flying about for the Nottingham Forest coaching staff at the end of that game with big 3 points, but Nottingham Forest did create plenty of chances in that one. Anthony Elanga at the heart and guilty of missing the majority of those. It's half-time at the Emirates Stadium in the Women's Super League game between Arsenal and Tottenham. Monty Sumter, can you summarise a blood and thunder first 45 minutes for us?
Yeah, you've got to give credit to Rob Villaham's Spurs side there. They've worked incredibly hard to fend off Arsenal for these first 45 minutes. We had no time added on at the end, which I do think tells the story of the half slightly. It was quite fast-paced, no real stoppages. Arsenal just wanting to get on with the game. You can tell exactly what this game means to the Gunners, though. I feel like it is a must-win 3 points if they want to keep these WSL title hopes alive. But no, it's not been particularly fruitful with chances that have been really clear-cut. Arsenal definitely on the front foot, permanently attacking the Spurs defence, who are packing themselves out, as I said a few moments ago. But it's looking to be an interesting second half here if Arsenal can keep up the way that they've been going and Spurs potentially offer something a little bit back. As it stands, it's 45 minutes gone here in North London. Arsenal 0, Tottenham 0.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Molly. Get yourself a well-earned 15 minutes rest and maybe some half-time oranges as you come back from the Emirates Stadium for the second half of that North London derby in the WSL. Some of the other games yesterday featured a victory for Aston Villa, who were coasting against Luton Town. Ollie Watkins at the double yet again. He is in some kind of goal-scoring form this season, and must surely be in Gareth Southgate's plans for the Euro squad this summer. 2 from him gave Aston Villa a comfortable lead, but Luton Town do not give up, and they found themselves back into that game. 2 goals in very quick succession saw them level until the late goal spoiled the events, and Aston Villa come up with 3 precious points in their pursuit of Champions League football, and it stretches their lead back to 5 points over Tottenham Hotspur, who occupy that 5th position in the table. Tottenham themselves came from behind for the 5th time this season to claim all 3 points against Crystal Palace. We'll get reaction from both those games later on in the show. I can tell you Villarreal have scored a second goal at home to Granada. Villarreal 2, Granada 0. And Alexander Sorloth is at the double. 2 goals for him this afternoon. It's Villarreal 2, Granada 2. Alexander Sorloth with both of those goals. Let's go back to Turf Moor to see how Burnley have responded to conceding that early Cliver goal. Any signs of an immediate equaliser in this one, Richard?
Plenty of huff and puff, but it's nothing really chance-wise coming from it. But there's plenty of energy from Burnley today. I've been quite impressed with that in the first 20 minutes we've had pretty much on the clock. Bournemouth, though, they just took that chance as Burnley fallen asleep. But as we've said, it's been a story of their season so far. We've had also Senesi, like you say, went off injured, and that was an interesting one, really, as such as he's been so key to that defence, get 5 clean sheets with Zabanari, who's been there with his defensive partner all season. But at the moment, though, it is still Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
Thank you very much, Richard. We were speaking earlier about a controversial moment that led to Liverpool's winning goal yesterday at the City Ground in the Liga. There was a goal that was ruled out, or in fact, the whistle had gone before the ball was put in the back of the net in a dramatic game featuring Valencia and Real Madrid. So, just to put it into context, Valencia led by 2-0 before Vinicius Jr. scored twice to give the league leaders what seemed like a valuable point. That was until the 96th minute of the game. A corner came in, was cleared. Then the referee blew the final whistle as the ball came back into the box. Jude Bellingham thought he'd scored a stoppage time winner, only to realise that before the ball had been played, the referee had blown the full-time whistle and the goal would not count. Jude Bellingham was then sent off for complaining after the final whistle, which denied him that winning goal. Real Madrid players and staff surrounded the referee Manzano, which means that Jude Bellingham, who's been out after 3 weeks with an injury, is now going to miss a further couple of games through suspension. Which potentially is not a bad thing, him getting some rest. Again, if you're Gareth Southgate looking ahead to the Euros. But it was big controversy last night. Real Madrid felt they were harshly done by, that they could have had all 3 points instead of just the 1, which did see them extend the lead over Girona to 7 points in the table. Of course, Girona playing later on this afternoon. We'll bring you goals from that game as they go in. So Real Madrid top 7 points clear of Girona, who have a game in hand. There are further 2 points ahead of Barcelona, who are 3rd place in La Liga as it stands. Atletico Madrid are in 4th and make up the last of those 4 Champions League places. Hearts have scored a second goal against Celtic. I did warn any of you that could have been bought in by those long Celtic odds. Lawrence Shankland, I should say, has scored a second goal for Hearts to make it Hearts 2, 10-man Celtic 0 after 57 minutes in the Scottish Premiership. There is a check going on that goal, so I will confirm that as soon as we get confirmation. Earlier on today in the Turkish Superliga, it finished Başakşehir 1, Samsunspor 0. Samsunspor finished the game with Temen Maris, who sent off midway through the first half, and just as the game restarted, Alexic scored for Başakşehir to give them all 3 points. And the other game in that division finished Pendikspor 0, Konyaspor 2. That was the final score. It was a penalty after just 12 minutes for Sikasheli, and Etemi with the second goal 15 minutes from time, so all 3 points for the visitors in that one. It's finished in the Eredivisie. The early game finished Ajax 2, Utrecht 0. Ajax took the lead through Broby 5 minutes before the interval. Taylor then doubled the lead 10 minutes from time. But Ajax had to see the game out with 10 men. Devin Wrench was sent off, a straight red card, an awful challenge by all accounts. Saw Ajax finish the game with 10 men, but importantly, they got all 3 points, which sees them climb up the Eredivisie towards those European places. Let's go back to Turf Moor, where Burnley are starting to get their bearings back again, Richard Bonds.
They're playing very well, in all fairness. We're midway through this half. It's still Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1, but they had a really good chance. The centre-back Esteve. It was a ball came in from the right-hand side from Audebert, who's been their best player so far, the Frenchman. put a lovely ball across the box. Esteve up for the corner, tries to get a little flick on it, he does, and he's missed the ball completely, but if it had gone in, it would have been brilliant, but it didn't, and it's still the score still stays the same. So it's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join Corner Corner where the big boys play.
Get involved in NairaBet's Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Reigning Premier League champions Man City take on Man United at the Etihad Stadium, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 500 Naira. Whether you back the Citizens or the Red Devils, you will still be eligible for the free bet, regardless who wins. All you need to do is log into www.nairabet.com, bet on Manchester City versus Manchester United, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match market or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cash out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Coming up next Saturday on Football Live.
Yeah!
Arsenal against Brentford.
1, 2, 3, run it!
The Premier League, the Bundesliga,
Serie A, the Saudi Pro League, La Liga, French League 1.
Let it hit them.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals.
You are listening to Football Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals.
You are listening to Football Live
and exclusive on Brila FM.
A good type of game of football.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Yes, I'm delighted to say that I'll be joining you back next Saturday. So it's going to be another fantastic show on our hands. But we've got a big game going on right now at Turf Moor. Burnley taking on Bournemouth. Richard Bond, it's shaping up to be quite an exciting afternoon on our hands.
Oh, it's a cracking game to watch, for the neutral, but you just feel that, Burnley are having the better of the play, but every time Bournemouth get the ball, you feel like they can score. It's one of those kind of games, and they're not helping themselves, Burnley, in defence, where we had a ball over the top played a minute ago, and Kluivert was nearly found. Trafford tried to clear it away first time, but he didn't put it far enough, and it's comedy in the back. But yeah, we're still the same scoreline, but it's on an edge, this one. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
Thank you very much, Richard. There's been 2 quick goals in France. Toulouse have come from behind to lead Nice by 2 goals to 1. Just a couple of minutes ago, Delinga levelled things up, but Gobo has just turned things around. It's now Toulouse 2, Nice 1. So 2 very, very quick goals. 2 goals in 4 minutes. Toulouse leading in Ligue 1. So Toulouse were 11.0 at the stage where John Kane gave us the odds. If you've a very brave man to put some pennies on that one, you could become a very, very rich person indeed. Continuing our feedback from yesterday's Premier League games, I mentioned about Aston Villa's late winner to see them secure all 3 points and succumb Rob Edwards and his Luton side to yet another narrow defeat at home, where Kenilworth Road is a difficult place to go. We caught up with Rob Edwards after that defeat.
Bitterly disappointed. Hurts right now, anger, frustration, probably all the same things that the supporters are feeling, the lads will be feeling as well. The first half was, there's a lot of things that were good about the first half. It's not that easy to just turn up and turn Aston Villa over. We've got to remember that. I think all of us need to remember that as well. They're so well organised, so well drilled. We've got a mountain to climb at half time. Wanted more intensity then because at 2-0 down, we have to take more risks. We have to try and find a way to get back in the game. Thought the players were outstanding. Did climb that mountain, did get back in the game, and got done towards the end with a goal that we should defend better.
A goal they should have defended better as well, particularly when Luton themselves had a couple of chances, guilty chances to win it before conceding that late goal. So we're approaching the last 15 minutes of the first half in our featured Premier League game, the early featured Premier League game between Burnley and Bournemouth. Let's check in again with John Kane and get the latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change in the English Premier League. As you're just hearing, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1. After 29 minutes, Burnley are 6.0 to turn it around, 4.33 for the draw, and 1.53 for a Bournemouth away win. If you're interested in some goals, especially in the first half, if you think it's going to be over 1.5 goals, so just one more goal in the first half is 1.91, and if you think it's over 2.5 goals in the first half is 5.0. But if you're interested in goals in general, if you think it's to be over 3.5 goals is 2.40, and if you think it's to be over 4.5 goals is 4.50. Now let's go back quickly for the remainder of the games. Villarreal leading Granada by 2-0. Villarreal suspended at the moment. The draw is 12.0 and away win for Granada is 26.0. 72 minutes gone in the French League 1. Toulouse 2, Nice 1. Toulouse were losing by 1-0. Last time I spoke to you, they were 11.0 as Dean Kilford just mentioned. Now they're 1.33 to maintain that lead. 4.33 for the draw and 17.0 for Nice to win it. Now, if you think Nice is going to turn around, well, 17.0, but I'm not saying anything. I'm not giving any hints in any way, shape or form. In the German Bundesliga, Hamburg and Unspurg is 1-1 at half-time. Hamburg at 1.70 for the win. The draw is 3.25 and away win for Osnabrück is 6.50. Elfsberg are losing at home to Venn by 1-0. Elfsberg are 4.33 for the win. The draw is 3.30 and away win for Venn is 1.85. It's half-time in the Belgian Pro League. It's Genk 0, Club Brugge 1. Genk at 6.50 to turn it around in the second half. 3.60 for the draw, and Club Brugge to maintain that lead are 1.57. And I can tell you Villarreal has scored the third, so it's now Villarreal 3, Granada 0 after 31 minutes, so betting is suspended for that. So just quick reminder on the English Premier League is Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1. Burnley are 6.0, the draw is 4.20 and away win for Bournemouth is 1.53. Of course, all these prices from NairaBet and is all subject to change.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much for that, John. I can tell you it's former Tottenham and Watford man Etienne Capoue, who's still plying his trade at the age of 35, that scored that third goal for Villarreal to make it 3-0 in that game against Granada. Big 3 points that could be for Villarreal. We are into the second half of the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal versus Tottenham in the WSL. Any changes on either side, or is it as you were, Molly Sumpter?
Yeah, we've pretty much just resumed the first half. Arsenal have come out with a slight more ignition in them, a bit more fight as they've quickly attacked down to the Spurs end. It's looking like it's going to be an Arsenal-dominated half once again. But we'll wait and see. Anything can happen in these North London derbies. 47 minutes on the clock. Arsenal 0, Tottenham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Arsenal 0, Tottenham 0. It was, as we were speaking to you, Arsenal 0, Tottenham 0. And it is no longer.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Molly Sumpter mentioned that Arsenal started the second half on fire. Well, they've caught wind of that fire and they've managed to burn a hole in the back of the net. It's Arsenal women 1, Tottenham women 0 in the WSL. A big goal in the title race has given Arsenal the lead in this one. As pure and simple as you like, to give the majority of the 60-odd thousand inside the Emirates Stadium that joyous feeling. Let's go and rejoin Molly Sumpter once more to hear about that goal.
Well, we said in the first half that everything from Arsenal was coming down the wings, and it's Steph Catley who's been doing a fantastic job so far this game, who's switched it over to Beth acres of space, and you absolutely cannot give her that, because you know what she'll do. Doesn't quite get the shot. She gets a saved shot from close range, but it just falls to none other than Alessia Russo, who taps it in, and it's an absolutely fantastically worked and deserved goal for Arsenal women. 48 minutes on the clock now. Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Molly. Our featured game in the Eredivisie, first versus second, kicks off just 3 minutes ago, and there's already been a goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And it's the man on loan from Bayern Munich, Malik Tillman, the American, who scored for the home side to potentially stretch their unbeaten fortress run at home to make it PSV 1, Feyenoord 0. There is a VAR check going on for that goal. Before that, there was a potential penalty shout as well. The goal has been given, I can confirm. So much going on in the Eredivisie. We'll join Mark Thomas as soon as we can to catch up with all the details about that potential penalty shout and potential, and that goal, which has been confirmed, I should say. I'll stick my teeth back in a minute. Also going on the Eredivisie right now, Heerenveen versus Vol, goalless in that game. Also, we've got the game in the Confederation Cup. Diables North 0, Sekhukune 0 is the latest score about 8 minutes ago until the interval. Let's go and hear about that goal, that early goal in the Eredivisie, the big game. Mark Thomas is there to describe the action for us.
Yes, terrific goal. What happened was Teze, the right back, played the ball from about the halfway line in towards the semi-center circle there of the penalty box. And a wonderful one-touch flick by Luke de Jong, the captain. Absolutely majestic it was. Put Tillman through. Still had a bit of work to do, mind you. He had a couple of players to go around, but he did, and he slotted it calmly into the net. A dream start for the home team. After 4 minutes, it's PSV Eindhoven 1, Feyenoord 0.
Mark, if I can keep you just for a moment, this about that penalty shout moments before. Can you shed any light on that one for us?
Well, yes, it looked as if there was a foul, to be honest with you, but the question was, what was it outside the box? It was just on the line, but it ended up being neither a penalty or a free kick there, because it was ruled to be just a corner, that there was no foul that took place. But dangerous work there from Desi. He was going through on the left-hand side, and he looks a bright spark in this team already in this match.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Mark. I hope it stays dry for you, unlike last week when you got absolutely drenched in Spain. Let's go back to Turf Moor, where Burnley had another chance to get themselves on the score sheet, Richard Buns.
Yeah, close for Burnley, and it was a nice little ball from Cullen in the midfield that picked out Odegaard, and you feel if anyone's going to get something, it's going to be him. To the one time Bournemouth dropped off from their close, tight marking game they've been doing this afternoon, tried to curl an effort towards the top right-hand corner, but just sailed just wide of the post. But it was close for Burnley, but they're just lacking that cutting edge in the final third at the moment. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1, 36 minutes gone.
Thank you, Richard. Just to emphasise that point, Burnley have had 8 shots in this game, and Bournemouth just 3, but just the 1 shot on target for either side. Richard, what does Vincent Kompany need to do in this game to get his team level, to get his team to become a little bit more clinical in front of goal?
I think they're lacking a striker, an out-and-out striker, and I'm surprised really, unless he's not really totally fit, that Zeki Amdouni didn't really start this one, because he's a lively player, and he hasn't scored that many since his move, but he's a good prospect. He's quite young, but that's what they're lacking, is up top. Maybe even Jay Rodriguez as well, a proven player over the years to get goals in the Premier League. So I'm expecting, if they don't get much in this first half, it won't be long till one of those two are introduced in the second.
And for Bournemouth, Dominic Solanke, he's had a season, another good season for him. What odds are him potentially gate crashing that Gareth Southgate squad come the summer?
Yeah, well, he had such a good run not so long ago. I think he does play every week, though, so it's a case of wear and tear. He's carrying a knee injury over the last few games, and Bournemouth haven't won in 7 in the league. So I think it's vital for them today to get a win, also. So I think Solanke's got a proven point. He's a bit different. He can hold the ball up. He's strong in the air, good on the floor. So why not? With Callum Wilson sort of getting injured as well, he was a sort of peripheral player as well, maybe looking for inclusion, but there's fighting for places now. There's all to play for the last couple of months of the season. So yeah, I think he's knocking the door. Yeah, definitely.
Well, time will tell. Thank you very much, Richard. We'll be back to Turf more very, very shortly, I'm sure. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1. A later score, about 6 minutes or so to go until the interval. We've got a big game coming up in the Bundesliga. It's a big game at the top of the table in terms of Bayer Leverkusen. They travel to relegation-threatened FC Köln, and we've got the team news ahead of that game. Ed Dowling is in place for us to give us the changes for both lineups.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. This feels like a massive game. I think every game until the end of the season will be massive for Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen. But they've gone with a very familiar side here in Cologne, who are always a banana skin, if you like, for any team going to Cologne. They've started with Hradecki in goal, Tar, Hincapié and Stanisic as the back three. Grimaldo and Frimpong, who have been probably the best wing-back duo in the world so far, are in wing-back position with Andrić and Granit Xhaka in midfield. Burks and Jonas Hoffmann play behind the Czech Patrick Schick. As for Cologne, you've got Martin Schwaber in goal, Finkgrather, Chabot, Hubers and Carsten Samick at back four with Miner, Lubicic, Martel, Alidou with the midfield and Tillman and Adamyan leading the line. A must-win game for Xabi Alonso's men. I've got a feeling they might do it, Dean, but I could be proven wrong. Kick-off is about 45 minutes away.
Good stuff there. Thank you very much. It's just another chance for Burnley goes begging at Turf Moor, and a big chance that could have been as well. But this is a big, big feel in the Bundesliga as Köln take on Bayer Leverkusen. It could be a 10-point gap at the top of the table come the end of this game. Just coincidentally, 44 points separate third from bottom FC Köln and league leaders Bayer Leverkusen. The visitors, of course, still unbeaten in the league as well. And the hosts have won just one in their last 10. So odds certainly would point towards an away victory, but stranger things have happened. Let's go and check back in the North London derby in the WSL. Arsenal taking on Tottenham. It was all Arsenal to start the second half, and they got that breakthrough just after the restart. How have the visitors responded, Molly?
Well, to be quite honest with you, Dean, the visitors have not responded. Arsenal very much dominating the entire passage of play at the moment. Spurs really struggling to even get out of their own 16-yard box, to be quite honest. It's been all Arsenal so far, and credit to them. The way that Jonas Eidevall has got them playing is absolutely fantastic to watch. Really superb, and I think we will be seeing a few more goals here in the coming stages of this game. 56 minutes gone. It's Arsenal women 1, Tottenham women 0.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Molly. You do feel that Arsenal will get their normal 3 points that they normally do in this fixture and make the reverse fixture back in December an anomaly. Let's go and check back in the game at the Philips Stadium. League leaders PSV, a goal to the good at home to second place final last time we heard. How has the game settled since that early goal, Mark?
Well, both teams have settled in, Dean. Feyenoord have come back into it in the last 2 or 3 minutes. PSV had a nice header on goal from Lozano from a free kick outside the box that was easily saved by Wallenreuther in goal for Feyenoord today. But Minter is looking dangerous for Feyenoord. Every time he gets the ball down the right-hand side, you sense that something could develop. But so far, his final ball has been lacking that extra bit of quality that we need. We've got about 10 minutes gone here. It's still 1-0 to PSV Eindhoven.
Thank you very much, Mark. Let's go back to Turf Moor. Burnley versus Bournemouth. A big chance for the home side. Went begging, Richard Bonds.
Oh, I know. It was a really good chance for Burnley. It was a lovely defence splitting ball from Cullen through the midfield. He's played well coming into the team today. And he's trying to find Odebert, but it comes out... the keeper's come out really quick to smother it, but the rebound has come out and Larsson's tried to really rush it and he's just tried to snatch at the shot, and I think it was Smith who came over and got the block in really just to stop what probably would have been a certain goal with the keeper out of his goals. So another one gone begging for Burnley, and at the moment it's still a couple of minutes to half time. It's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
Thank you very much, Richard. Burnley have got a freak in a really promising position. Clive, the goal scorer, has shown a yellow card for a rather nasty-looking challenge. Finished in Serie A, finished for Verona 1, Sassuolo 0. That results sees Verona jump above Cagliari at the bottom of the table. In fact, it just pulls them 3 points away from them, given the goal difference. Another disappointing afternoon for Sassuolo, and they remain rooted second from bottom. Big game at the bottom of Serie A. Finished Verona 1, Sassuolo 0. Still to lose to Nice 1, about 3 minutes to go in League 1. In the Scottish Premiership, Hearts 2, Celtic 0. 10 men Celtic, I should say, 0. Celtic had the chance to leapfrog Rangers at the top of the Scottish Premiership. They've got 10 minutes to find 3 goals in order to do that. It doesn't look likely, if we're being honest. Hearts very much on top in that game in Edinburgh. In the Women's Super League, Arsenal women 1, Tottenham 0 is the latest score. Arsenal very much on top in the second half after a very even first half between the two sides. It's 6 minutes of injury time to be played at Turf Moor. Burnley taking on Bournemouth. Bournemouth leading by 1-0, courtesy of that Justin Clive goal. In the Eredivisie, Heerenveen 0, Zwolle 0 is the latest score. PSV Eindhoven 1, Feyenoord 0 is a latest score. We'll bring you all the goals as they go in. We've got games going on in League more games in the WSL, Serie A, the Bundesliga, and of course we'll bring you all the goals from the Nigerian Premier League as they go in. To update you on the shots, Burnley have had 11 shots, 3 of which on target. Let's make that 12 shots, 3 on target. Bournemouth 4, just the 1 on target, but their goal come from that 1 shot on target. Let's go and hear about that resultant free kick that Burnley had from Richard Bonds.
Yeah, really good free kick from Larsson, and he's tried to bend it round into the bottom right-hand corner or past Neto, but Neto's just got round. He's got a really strong hand on it just to power it away. Really top save, and the top keeper keeping his side ahead at the moment. It's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1. Just coming to I've got a couple of minutes of stoppage time left of this one now.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. See if Burnley can force an equaliser deep into stoppage time in this first half. You'd feel for their efforts, they would deserve at least a share of the spoils come the halftime break. But football doesn't work like that. Let's go back to the Philips Stadion. PSV versus Feyenoord. The home side almost doubling their lead, Mark.
Yes, they played it. They played the ball out beautifully from the back, Dean. Lozano had the shot that was easily saved by Wollenreuther, but it was the play coming up to that. They threaded and shredded through the whole Feyenoord team so easily. Took less than 2 seconds, and the ball was right down the other end and a good goal-scoring opportunity. Feyenoord did come back into the game a little bit. They're trying to get Milambo into the game. He's 18 years old. He's making only his second start today for them. He's not in the game yet, and they are getting stuck in. I dare say it could get a little bit tasty later on. After 15 minutes, still PSV Eindhoven 1, Feyenoord 0.
Thank you very much, Mark. Straight back to Turf Moor. Another chance for Burnley, Richard.
Oh, how aren't they ahead? How aren't they level? Sorry. Oh, God, I've got to catch my breath. Oh, Taylor's done a really good cross from left after they've recycled a corner. It's come in. Vitinha's got his head on it, and he should score that when he's flicked at it. A bit too early. It's just gone over the bar. It's desperate stuff for Burnley. They really be ruining these if they're not getting the goal soon. It is Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1. Couple more minutes to stop this time left to see if we can get a goal, though.
Thank you very much, Richard. Let's go and hear about a triple change for Tottenham away at Arsenal in the WSL, Molly.
Yeah, the Tottenham manager knows he's got to change some thing here, otherwise it could be a drubbing for them. Ashley Neville has come off for Petzelberger. Kit Graham has been replaced in midfield by Attingan. Jess Naz, former Arsenal player who had that great shot in the first half, just off of the crossbar. Spurs' only chance really in this game. She has made way for Drew Spence. Desperate times for Tottenham Hotspur here as we're coming into the last 30 minutes or so at the Emirates. It's Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. So let's bring you up to speed in our featured games. Arsenal Women 1, Tottenham 0, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1, and it's PSV Eindhoven 1, Feyenoord 0. You're listening to Football Live. It's time to hand you over to FJ and the team in Lagos. We'll see you very, very shortly. We are listening to Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, thank you very much, FJ. Some interesting callers. 7-0 to Manchester City this afternoon. The latest odds on that, by the way, if you were thinking of putting a wager, is 101.00. Well, you know, stranger things have happened, but 7-0 would be a bit of a shock and a bit of a stretch. Plenty of goals to catch you up on. FJ, I'll get back to you on the GM player debate momentarily, but let's go and hear about an equalising goal for Feyenoord first and foremost at the Philips Stadion. PSV 1, Feyenoord 1. Mark Thomas.
Yes, it's all kicked off here, Dean. 17 minutes. They decided to go Feyenoord direct. The goalkeeper put the ball straight onto over the defence onto Jimenez, who should have scored. He took the ball around Benitez. He should have scored, but he couldn't. And they did the same thing about 6 minutes later. Rule 1 again, misplayed by Boscali this time in defence. He was robbed by Yannick Minter, the Gambian, who took it very, very calmly around Benitez this time and just shoved it into the back of the goal. PSV are pushing forward. It's been a very lively game. They've just hit the post twice in the space of 1 minute, so a very, very exciting game here. But it is PSV 1, Feyenoord 1.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Mark. It's half-time in our featured Premier League game. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1 was the half-time score. Richard Bonds, how were Burnley not levelled at the break?
I don't know, Dean, to be honest. Bournemouth 1 to the good. Justin Kluivert, the only goal of the game. Possibly, it was really poor defending from Burnley, really, after being given too much time, really, Kluivert. It was a really hopeful punt up, flicked on. And Kluivert really got time just to pick his spot as such. Bournemouth have been happy then to let Burnley dictate the play. They've had their chances, though, Burnley. You know, they'd have Neto to thank. Bournemouth for the scores to be as they are, after saving Jacob Brown-Larsson's free kick spectacularly, with the ball seemingly really set to go in the back of the net. He had no right to save that one. Burnley have looked full of energy, and they've been better today, Enterprise. They don't look like a relegation side, but they just don't have that cutting edge in the final third of the pitch. So as it stands, it's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1, and they'll be looking to press on in the second half now. We've got an entertaining half to come, though.
Indeed, a big 45 minutes for Vincent Kompany and his men. And let's go to the Emirates Stadium, the WSL. Arsenal taking on Tottenham. Plenty of changes, but no sign of the score sheet changing, Molly Sumter.
No, Arsenal have made a triple change here, including taking off Alessia Russo, that goal scorer, and bringing on Leah Williamson, who you might remember has just pulled out of the England squad with a hamstring injury. She started today on the bench, usually would have started the game from the beginning. But no, she's coming on to make her moves in the last few stages of this game. Beth England has also come on for Spurs. Again, somebody who usually would have started. She takes the captaincy. We know she can produce goals, and they really could do with one in these closing stages here. Had Arsenal been more clinical with their final balls today, this could have been an absolute embarrassment for Spurs. But as it stands, Arsenal still very much on the attacking front foot. And it's Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. We've kicked off in Serie A, where David Nicola has been a revelation since taking over as Empoli boss. They're now 6 unbeaten and 5 points clear of the drop zone, having been second from bottom back in January. Despite being in the relegation zone, Calgary showed their fight last time out with the late equaliser against Napoli. It really is the definition of a 6-pointer. And Richard Freckleton is at the Stadio Carlo Castellani to give us the early early goings in this one. Good afternoon to you, Richard.
Good afternoon to you, Dean. Early stages here where it's Empoli 0, Cagliari 0, and this is very much a pressurized game for both teams because although Empoli are 13th in the league, they are only 5 points separating them and Cagliari. So they will be fancying their chances to win this particular game because they've got a great record against Cagliari. They're unbeaten not only in just 6 games, but they're unbeaten against Cagliari in 6 games also. Cagliari, they haven't won a match in 6 games. They don't know where their next win is coming from. A lot of pressure for Ranieri, but he's going to be relying on Zito Luvumbu, the young Angolan, with 4 goals to try and get a much valued win. But so far in the early stages, it's Empoli 0, Cagliari 0.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much to you, Richard. I can tell you that Villarreal have scored a 4th goal at home to Granada. 4-0, the latest score in Spain. And that's a very comfortable afternoon for Villarreal. Let's go straight back to the Philips Stadium. PSV versus Feyenoord. 1 apiece last we heard, but a big chance for the home side, Mark.
Yes, wonderful chance just past the post from Schouten, who's been very lively. Teze, the fullback, Jordan Teze, is not even on the radar for the Dutch team. And with the Dutch, the manager sitting in the stand here, I'm sure he's getting closely looked at. He's having a wonderful game. He threaded the ball through to Schouten, who only had the goalkeeper to beat, but he skewed it past the far hand post. Very close. We got a great game going on here. It's end-to-end stuff. You really don't want to take your eye off it for a second. PSV 1, Feyenoord 1.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Mark. I can tell you that Gonzalo Guedes scored the goal for Villarreal to make it 4-0 just after the restart. He'd only came on at half-time. He scored within 96 seconds. I can confirm the stadium attendance at the Emirates. 60,050 people in attendance. Arsenal taking on Tottenham. Let's go and join Molly Sumter. It doesn't look like there's going to be any signs of a further goal, does it?
Well, Arsenal have got a free kick in a pretty dangerous position here, but that came courtesy of some really scrappy play from the Tottenham substitutes. They've only just come on, and 2 of them already have gotten themselves booked. It is getting in true North London derby style, incredibly scrappy here. Tackles flying in all over the place. Spurs looking a little bit short on ideas of what to do here. Arsenal still very much ruling the roost. We've got about 10 minutes to go here. It's Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. It's finished in the Scottish Premiership. Hearts 2, Celtic 0. Big blow for Celtic's title credentials. But for Hearts, well, they are in 3rd place in the table. They've closed the gap to 15 points on league leaders Rangers. Celtic remain 2 points behind the league leaders, and they had the chance to leapfrog them and go top of the table following that big defeat for Rangers at home to Motherwell yesterday afternoon. So it's Rangers top, 70 points from 29. Celtic second, 68 from 29. Hearts then third, 55 from 29. We kicked off in the second half in the English Premier League, Burnley versus Bournemouth. And there's been a change for the visitors, I believe, Richard Bonds.
Yeah, Bournemouth have just added a bit more industrious energy in the midfield. They brought on Alex Scott into there. He's come on for Ryan Christie. I think Bournemouth have kept a similar sort of team last couple of games. So perhaps Scott, who played very well for Bristol City last season, will give him a little bit more energy in there, trying to, as Burnley had a lot of the play in the first half. But yeah, just kicking off here. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
Thank you very much, Richard. So going back to FJ's points, Mugu Rangers with their player general manager. I couldn't think of a player general manager in the English Premier League. There's been plenty of player managers. The first person that came to my mind was Gordon Strachan. Glenn Hoddle, of course, for Chelsea. He played as sweeper in his last season, as well as being manager of Chelsea. Ruud Gullit as well took over from Gianluca Vialli. He was player manager in his first spell in charge of Chelsea as well. Chelsea mainly the team to have had a man in charge whilst being manager. Vincent Kompany was also a player manager for Burnley. Yeah, John Kane has just sent me a bit of information. I think Kylian Mbappe was elected to part of the board as part of being a Paris Saint-Germain player as well. So there's a few names for you. Ryan Giggs was a player manager as well in his time, just briefly, temporarily for the last few games of the season for Manchester United. There will probably be more. Gary Monk at Swansea was yet another. So there are plenty of them, but I don't know about general manager and player. Might be the slight variation on a theme, but hopefully, FJ, that appeases your curiosity on that particular topic. Let's go and check back in to the Philips Stadium. PSV versus Feyenoord seems to be a pretty exciting encounter at the Philips Stadium.
Yes, I'll tell you what, Dean, this game is absolutely living up to its status and its star billing today. Two teams, they desperately want to win. They're going for it. It's getting a little bit stodgy in midfield now as we approach halftime. You sense that both teams are looking to go into the tunnel and get some oranges and get some new ideas for the second half. But it's end-to-end stuff. Attacking play from both teams. As I said, you can't take your eye off it. Shooting was the last big chance that we had, which I mentioned to you, but there have been a few balls into the box. Very enterprising play by both sides. After 40 minutes, it's still PSV 1, Feyenoord 1.
Thank you very much, Mark. John Toshak for Swansea player manager. Plenty are being sent in to me. Of course, you can send in any suggestions or anybody I potentially have missed at Dean Kilford at Football Live on X, formerly known as Twitter. We will I'll get to those if you do want to get involved in the show. It's coming to the closing stages in the Women's Super League. Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0. Latest score doesn't look like any signs of a Tottenham equaliser in this one. And Arsenal going to come onto 3 valuable points that would push them to win 3 points of league leaders Manchester City and level on points with second in the table Chelsea. So let's go and check in with Molly Sumpter at the end of this game just to see if there is any sign of an equaliser at all in this one, or Arsenal just about to see this one out.
It seems as though Arsenal are just going to see it out. They have slowed down in these closing stages of this WSL game. Spurs really not offering up too much in the last couple of minutes as well. It does seem to be that the scoreline will stay as it is, but we'll wait and see. I know Arsenal can produce absolute magic at the end of games, so we'll see and keep you updated on what goes on here. 88 minutes on the clock. Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. I've got some further information on this. A club has offered Football Manager players the chance to become a board member and shareholder if they can lead the team Premier League glory on the game. So that's the game Football Manager. The only catch is that they have to reside in the 12th tier of the English football pyramid, meaning it's not a challenge for the faint-hearted. AFC Crew are proud members of the Staffordshire Senior League Division 1, a level outside of the official National League system. They're not the first club to offer a role off the back of Football Manager exploits this season, but National League side Bromley have also offered players the chance to join them as a tactician. So those of you that are good at the game Football Manager getting the opportunity to become an actual Football Manager. We need to, it's a different question, but it's a question nonetheless that we've answered. Let's go and check in at Turf Moor, Burnley taking on Bournemouth, and let's see how the second half has gone in this one. Bournemouth has started the second half as strongly as they did the first.
Yeah, Bournemouth have started better than Burnley in this half. They've had a bit more industry in them. It hasn't been any chances of note, but there's been quite a lot of energetic play from both sides, trying to get their muscle on the game. It's going to be an interesting one. You feel the next goal is really crucial in this one. See which way it goes. But at the moment, I think Bournemouth has stifled them at the moment. Burnley's attacks that they were having in that first half. But yeah, we're Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1. We've got 6 minutes played in that second half.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. Burnley, you feel they need to click into gear, and maybe that first half was all they had to offer. Let's go and check in our featured game in Serie A. Empoli versus Calgary. Goalless last time we heard, but the first real opportunity of the game has happened, hasn't it, Richard?
It has indeed, Dean. It is Empoli 0, Cagliari 0. But Gaetano from 25 yards hit a rifling shot that Capri in the Empoli goal tipped over the bar. And then it's end-to-end stuff where Empoli almost just scored, and the goalkeeper, Scuffa, made a double save, and they're defending with their lives so far. But still at this moment in time, it is Empoli 0, Cagliari 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. Last time we caught up with Mark Thomas, it was petering out to a goal, a level draw, which most draws are at the end of the first half. But there has been a chance for PSV to retake the lead, I believe.
Yes, the American Tillman, he's having a great game, by the way. He went on a jinking little run into the box, a dazzling little run, great footwork, great skills, got the ball to the byline. He queued it up on a plate for Junior. One of the defenders came in and took it off his feet. So it amounted to nothing, but it was a wonderful, wonderful chance. All getting a bit tasty now, Dean. We've had a yellow card for Teze, and it's a very competitive game, lots at stake. But we're approaching halftime. We've got 2 minutes of added time here. It is still 1-1.
Thank you very much, Mark. We've had the opening goal in the other game in the Eredivisie. Heerenveen have taken the lead against Zwolle. Heerenveen 1, Zwolle 0 is a latest score. 7 minutes of added time to be played at the Emirates Stadium. Still Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0. Last time we heard, although Tottenham have the ball in the Tottenham penalty area, but they could not force the breakthrough. It's time now to check in with John Kane once more and get the latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. The English Premier League is still Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1, 54 minutes gone. Burnley has just gone down to 8.0. The draw has just gone up to 4.20. And Bournemouth to maintain that lead are 1.44. PSV against Feyenoord. We're into the injury time in the first half. PSV 1, Feyenoord 1. PSV are 1.95 for the win. The draw is 3.0, and the away win to Feyenoord is 5.0. Empoli against Cagliari is still 0-0 after 19 minutes. Empoli at home are 2.20. The draw has just gone down to 3.0, and away win is 3.80 for Cagliari. 18 minutes also gone in this Serie A in the game between Frosinone and Lecce. Still 0-0 there. Frosinone are 2.40 for the win. The draw is 3.0, and away win for Lecce is 3.30. The Premier League game, Burnley-Bournemouth, just go back into it quickly. If you like goals, I certainly do. If you think it'll be over 2.5 goals in that game for the next 35 minutes or so, it's 2.20. If you think it'll be over 3.5 goals, it's 4.75. Now, as you heard from Dean Kilford early on, there's a big game today. It's the Manchester derby between Manchester City and Manchester United. We'll be covering it here live. Of course, Manchester City are firm favourites. They are 1.29 for the win. The draw is 6.0, and the away win for Manchester United is a very high odds of 9.50. Again, with Dean Kilford, we always have goals. So over 3.5 goals in that game is 2.0. Over 4.5 goals is 3.20. And one of the callers says it's going to be 7-0. So if you think it's going to be over 6.5 goals, it's 10.0. So 7-0 is 101.0. Last time we were with Dean as well. I'm trying to find the half-time scores, because last time we did, Manchester City was it 2-2, Dean, with Chelsea at half-time?
It was 2-2. Yeah, it was 2-2, and of course we all know how that game ended up.
Absolutely. So if you think Man City, it will be 2-2 at half-time, they are 51.0. So, and if you think a draw is 1-1, it's 8.50. But when Dean Kilford is here, we guarantee goals, and I'm going with the goals for this one, Dean.
I concur. I think goals on the agenda. I think 7 might be stretching it a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised to see over 3.5 goals in that game, and the majority of those possibly in the colour of light blue. Sorry for any Manchester United fans listening in this afternoon. Thank you very much. As always, John Kay giving us the latest odds powered by NairaBet, and we'll check in with him later as the later games get underway, as we get to the closing stage as well in our featured games. Staggered kickoff times on Football Live today. A game kickoff every half an hour, which is just how we like it. Let's go and check back in at Turf Moor. Our featured Premier League game that's currently underway is Burnley versus Bournemouth, but it really should have been game over, Richard.
I think so, yeah. Burnley are playing. How they not 2 behind. Bournemouth, we should have been 2 up. Lovely ball on the left-hand side. Cross from, I think it was Tavernier that brought in the ball across to Justin Clivert, who's coming at the back post. All he's got to do is hit on target and it's in. It's a beautiful ball in there, and he's hit it wide of the post. Just before that, then Dominic Solanke missed a really good effort, saved by James Trafford with excellently down low. But 2 good chances there. Burnley now got a chance now to try and get back into the game. They've had their shot, but it's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
Indeed, it was a lovely cushioned volley into the path of, I think it was Clive, wasn't it? You just mentioned that missed it. It was a wonderful move from Bournemouth, and indicative of the way Andres Iraola likes his teams to play. But Bournemouth certainly going to have some defending to do, as Burnley, without doubt, will start to throw the kitchen sink at this Bournemouth defence. But time will tell. I say that as Bournemouth have to defend and clear away from the edge of their own 6-yard box. There's been a couple of goals in the WSL games that kicked off about 25 minutes ago. Aston Villa women 0, Liverpool 1 is the latest score, and Bristol City 0, Brighton 1 is the latest score. Goals just going in for both the away sides there. Let's check back into the North London derby. Still playing in that one. Went to the 8th minute of added time. I believe there was an injury to the Arsenal goalkeeper, Molly Sumpter.
Yeah, I believe so. It looked as though Manuela Zimberger was on the floor for it was only about 30 seconds. She did have to have a bit of numbing spray on the ankle. It didn't look anything too serious, but that's all I can imagine is keeping this game from finishing here at the moment, as there hasn't been too much else to talk about in the closing stages. As I said before, everything very much slowing down. Arsenal looking very cool, calm and comfortable. So we'll wait and see when this finishes, but we surely only have seconds left.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Molly. I'm sure we'll be back with you very, very shortly. In fact, very shortly indeed. The full-time whistle has now got at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal women 1, Tottenham 0 is a full-time score. Let's go and check back in our game in the Eredivisie. It's half-time. It's a goal apiece, PSV versus Finals. A bit of a cracker of a first half for you there, Mark Thomas.
Oh, absolutely. I'm breathless, Dean. First half, full of chances, lots of chances at both ends. PSV have had 10 shots, 5 of those on target. Feyenoord 3 shots, 2 on target. PSV have had the majority of the play, but it's been end-to-end stuff. Of course, we had the 2 goals, 4th minute goal from Tillman, a wonderful little jinking run after a great pass from De Jong, and then Minte cashed in on a bit of a defensive error by Bascoli. Stole the ball off him, took the ball around the goalkeeper. It's 1-1 at half-time here, but, the second half, if it lives up to the first half, it's going to be a great one.
Indeed, it will. We'll go and enjoy those half-time oranges you've been preparing and get ready for an action-packed second half. Let's just check back in our featured game in Serie A. Empoli versus Calgary. Just the one notable chance of note so far. Richard, any signs of the deadlock being broken since?
It's still 0-0 between Empoli and Cagliari, but it is a very open game, end-to-end stuff here. I would say the pick of the player so far, I can say, is Cambiaghi of Empoli on the left wing. He's causing absolute mayhem, but it's just the end product that is letting Empoli down so far. But he's certainly a player to watch for sure. And I can't see this ending up 0-0 at all because with the history of both sides. But so far, with 28 minutes on the clock, it's Empoli 0, Cagliari 0.
Thank you very much, Richard. Goals guaranteed. I do love to hear that on Football Live. Villarreal have scored a 5th goal at home to Granada, and Alexander Sorloth has completed his hat-trick. What an afternoon for him to make it Villarreal 5, Granada 0. He's added a hat-trick to his tally for the season. Gonzalo Guedes and Etienne Capoue, the other 2 men on the score sheet. And it's a second goal for Brighton women away at Bristol City. Bristol City 0, Brighton 2 in the WSL. One game that has finished in the WSL was the North London derby between Arsenal and Tottenham. Covering that for us on Football Live was our senior reporter, Molly Sumter.
Thanks, Dean. Yeah, it's full time here at that really packed Emirates, as we said. What a North London derby it's been today. Arsenal keeping their sights firmly set on the WSL title, keeping them right in there with Chelsea and Man City. The WSL will be definitely one to watch in these closing weeks because that is a very tasty title race between those 3 brilliant teams. To be quite honest, it didn't seem too difficult for Arsenal today, but both teams clearly wanted this so badly. But I think it came down to just those Arsenal girls who could finish those chances, clinical passing, and at the end of the day, just needed those points more than Spurs did. For some stats for you, 14 shots from the Arsenal women, 4 of those on target, compared to Spurs' measly 6, with 3 of those coming on target. I think those stats really do tell the story of this game, Dean. The Arsenal women very deserving of those 3 points today and keeping themselves, as we said, in that title race. A great game of football this afternoon, but it's ended here at the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0.
Thank you very much, Molly. Yeah, indeed, the title race in the WSL is heating up. 3 points separating the top 3, and another defeat for Tottenham in the North London derby in the WSL. Keeping with the WSL, Liverpool have scored a second away at Aston Villa. It's 2 in 10 minutes for the away side to make it Aston Villa 0, Liverpool 2. In that one, Team News will be dropping very, very shortly ahead of an eagerly anticipated Manchester derby. Manchester City taking on Manchester United. Our chief reporter, Andre Buonacore, is in situ at the Etihad, and he will get to us as soon as that Team News does drop. Meanwhile, let's go and remind ourselves of what a fantastic action-packed Saturday we had here on Football Live.
The goals are absolutely flying in the English Premier League this afternoon, and Chelsea have got an equaliser.
Chelsea back level here at the G-Tech. It is Disasi, and there he was, Disasi, back post to power a header in.
Tottenham were behind against Crystal Palace thanks to a goal from Eze, but they now lead 3 goals to 1.
In quite emphatic fashion, as Son Heung-min has probably now given Spurs 3 points today.
It's been an absolutely disastrous afternoon for Brighton.
Adama Traore on the breakaway, who was so influential at the end of the game at Old Trafford last week, has scored his first goal for Fulham.
And what a return it's potentially going to be for David Moyes. He spent 11 years at Goodison Park. Unbelievable scenes.
What a goal from Thomas Souček, and you have to say it's smash and grab for West Ham.
Yes, it's a torrid day for Gary O'Neill and Wolves. They now find themselves 3-0 down against Newcastle.
Yes, it is Livramento. Livramento had acres of space on the right-hand side, and boy, did he take advantage of it.
We have been talking all afternoon how Liverpool had the opportunity to extend their lead at the top of the English Premier League, and now they are winning against Nottingham Forest.
It's that man, Darwin Núñez, rises above the Forest defence and nods it past the keeper to make it Nottingham Forest 0, Liverpool 1 in the dying seconds of this game. What a substitution, what a striker. Liverpool grab 3 points.
Well, there you are. That is yesterday. And what an action-packed afternoon it was on Football Live. Plenty of goals, 19, in fact, covered by Richard Parr and our team of fantastic Football Live reporters. Let's go back to Turf Moor where the ball was in the back of the net, but more heartbreak for Vincent Kompany. Richard Bonds.
Oh, Burnley. Oh, it's so close to having that equalising goal. The ball was in the net, as you say, and it was Cullen who had the ball in the net, and it was a lovely ball from the right-hand side, drifted in. I think it was Larson at the back post. It was just clambered over his man. He's given it as a foul, David Coote, the referee. He will. It's desperate stuff, but it's fallen to Cullen. He's just stuck a leg out at it, and it's gone flying in. Oh, as you say, desperate stuff, but we've got 23 minutes to go here. Burnley to get a goal, but they are the better side in the second half now, playing for the goal. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
Indeed, you feel like it must be only a matter of time before they get that equaliser, but I feel like we've been saying that since Bournemouth scored that opening goal. So the team news is in from the Etihad. Manchester City and Manchester United starting 11s are here. It's time to check in for the very first time this afternoon with Andrew Bonacore, who can bring us up to date with the team news from the Manchester Derby.
Good afternoon, Dean. Good afternoon, everyone. I cannot remember a Manchester derby where there was so much agreement about who was going to win. City are overwhelming favourites in this match, which is huge for both sides, but in a derby game, you just never know. March is usually the month where City hit the turbos and go on a run of wins that sets them up for the title. That used to be United's role, but they are just hoping to cling on to a shot at the top four. No Grealish for Pep, but he has picked Ederson in goal, Walker, Diaz, Ake, and the returning John Stones in defence, Rodrigo, De Bruyne, and Bernardo in midfield. And going forward, we have Phil Foden, the dangerous Jeremy Doku, and of course, number 9, the danger man, the 5-star in the week. Number 9 is Erling Haaland. For Eric Ten Hag, he's still without Rasmus Højlund, and in goal he has Andre Onana. He's got a defence of Lindelof, Varane, Dalot, and Evans coming in today. Midfield, he's got captain Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho, Casemiro, and Mainu, and as well as McTominay, who's making a rare start. And up front, of course, very much in the headlines this week, Marcus Rashford, and he's supported by Garnacho. So we'll see how this game is to pan out. As I said, many people expect City to win. It's a huge game for both sides after the wins for Liverpool, Villa and Spurs this weekend, but we're looking forward to a great game. From the Etihad Stadium, it's Manchester City versus Manchester United.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join Corner Corner where the big boys play.
Get involved in NairaBet's Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Reigning Premier League champions Man City take on Man United at the Etihad Stadium, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 500 Naira. Whether you back the Citizens or the Red Devils, you will still be eligible for the free bet, regardless who wins. All you need to do is log into www.nairabet.com, bet on Manchester City versus Manchester United, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match market or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cash out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Coming up next Saturday on Football Live.
Yeah!
Arsenal against Brentford.
1, 2, 3, run it!
The Premier League, the Bundesliga,
Serie A, the Saudi Pro League, La Liga, French League 1.
Let it hit them.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals.
You are listening to Football Live.
Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
A good type of game of football.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
We've kicked off in our featured Bundesliga game. Köln versus Bayer Leverkusen, still goalless after 7 minutes in that one. Let's head back to Turf Moor, with the referee kept his hands in his pockets, Richard Bond. But should he?
Oh, I think it should have been a pen there for Burnley, and their afternoon's just continuing. It's getting worse, and it was a ball played in from I think it was Amdouni, who got caught in the end, but the ball from the left-hand side got caught in. There was a foot that was stuck out, and it was just carrying. I think it was from the substitute Scott, and he's kind of just caught him, and they didn't go to VAR on that one. It's a bit of an interesting one, but yeah, maybe Burnley will be aggrieved with this one if the score stays the same. It's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1 with about 18 minutes to go.
I would certainly be very aggrieved if I was Vincent Kompany watching that one back. Burnley, the afternoon is not going their way. Second half has kicked off at the Philips Stadium. PSV 1, Feyenoord 1. Big game at the top of the table. Let's go and check in at the Stadio Carlo Castellani, where it's a big game between Empoli and Calgary. Richard Freckleton is there, and there's a big chance for the home side.
Yes, 37 minutes just gone on the clock, and it's still Empoli 0, Cagliari 0. But they're getting closer. A beautiful cross from the right-hand side by Mallet, and Destra with a glancing header to the right-hand side of the post just went wide. They're putting on the pressure, and when it rains, it pours. For Cagliari, it seems, with Zito Lovompo, the top goal scorer with 4 goals, the Angolan striker. He's gone off and been replaced by Zappa, a defender. So I can only see one winner so far, but still, with 38 minutes on the clock now, it's Empoli 0, Cagliari 0.
Good stuff. Thank you very much for that, Richard. Let's go and check in at the Rhine Energy Stadion. FC Köln taking on league leaders Bayer Leverkusen. How's this one started, Ed?
Yeah, nothing too much so far. About 9 minutes in. Leverkusen bizarrely playing in a light blue strip, which is throwing me off ever so slightly. I thought they'd be playing in red, but nothing so far. Both teams just feeling each other out. Just looking at the stats before the game, if Leverkusen win this one, they will go 10 points clear in the Bundesliga, whereas Cologne, who are in 16th place, will really need a win to give them a bit more breathing space if they hope to stay in this division. So the stats are pointing to one winner only here, but we never know. Stranger things could happen. But 9 minutes in, 0-0 here at the Rhine Energy Stadium.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Ed. In Ligue 1, Brest lead Le Havre by a goal to nil. Montpellier have just taken the lead against Strasbourg. Montpellier 1, Strasbourg 0. In the other game, it's Nantes 0, Metz 0. In the other games in Serie A, the featured game, as we just heard, Empoli 0, Cagliari 0, and Frosinone 0, Lecce 0 is a latest score as well. Let's go and check in our feature game in the Eredivisie, where there's been an early second half chance for the visitors, Mark.
Yes, this game, second half's kicked off just as the first one ended. Absolute belter of a game today here, Dean. Both teams are pushing. You know, it's such an important game here at the top between Feyenoord and PSV. The Santiago Jimenez, the Mexican, there was a bit of a bouncing ball situation. Ramalho was beaten by the bounce of the ball, and Jimenez was through on goal. Shot directly at Benitez this time, saved by his legs from a very, very tight angle. But a great, wonderful chance again for Feyenoord. They've got to start taking these, otherwise they'll be living to regret this. 48 minutes gone, it's still 1-1.
Thank you very much, Mark. I can tell you that Montpellier goal was ruled out. VAR got involved, and offside was the verdict. So still Montpellier 0, Strasbourg 0 is the latest score. It's still Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1, but Bournemouth had a big chance to extend their lead, Richard Pond.
Just seen another one as well, and Semenyo has had them both. And first one, really, Solanke found him out wide just to kind of cut in. He's had a shot and he's just drifted wide the left-hand post. Very carbon copy scenario now, but this was of his own doing. He's managed to feed the ball. He's drifted on the right-hand side, cut inside, and then again slashing a shot, but going wide that left-hand post. This game is on an edge. 15 minutes to play. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1.
Yes, on an edge indeed. Burnley are pushing forward, leaving themselves open, and Semenya should surely have taken one of either of those chances. Both efforts flashing past the upright. In Spain, La Liga, Villarreal 5, Granada 0. Alexandra Soloff hat-trick amongst a goal for Etienne Capoue, and Guedes have sealed what should be a very, very comfortable afternoon's work for Villarreal as they look to further push themselves away from the dreaded drop zone and comfortably into mid-table, taking them above Alaves in the table. For Granada, where they are firmly looking relegation in the face, they would be 10 points adrift of safety as things stand. Let's go and check back in our game at the Philips Stadium. League leaders, PSV versus second place, final 7 minutes into the second half. Feyenoord with the first big opportunity of the second period. Any chances since then, Mark?
No, not much happened since then. PSV, a bit of a slow, sort of slumbering start to this game. They're misplacing passes all over the place. They don't look as effective as they were in the first half. Feyenoord definitely looked brighter. But the reality is PSV haven't lost in the Eredivisie for 13 months. So Feyenoord have got their work cut out. We just got a yellow card here shown to one of the PSV defenders. It's a free kick. It's 50 minutes gone. It's still 1-1.
Thank you very much, Mark. It's a potential red card in the game between Köln and Bayer Leverkusen. There's a VAR check ongoing. I'll give you more details on that as I get it, but I believe that Jan Tillman is the man that's been shown the red card. Whilst we wait for the verdicts on that one, let's check in once more with our very own John Kane to get all the latest odds, powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. 79 minutes gone, about 10 minutes plus time in the English Premier League is Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1. Burnley are 23.0 to turn it around, 5.0 for the draw, and it's 1.25 for Bournemouth away win. PSV and Feyenoord is 1-0, as you just heard that from Mark Thomas. PSV are 2.15 for the win. The draw has gone down to 2.70, and away win for Feyenoord is 4.75. Empoli against Cagliari coming to half time. It's still 0-0 between them. Empoli are 2.38 for the win. The draw is 2.60, and Cagliari to win the game is 4.20. The other game in Italian Serie A we'll keep an eye on is Frosinone against Lecce, also 0-0. Frosinone has 2.70 for the win. The draw is 2.50, and away win for Lecce is 3.60. I can tell you that the Cologne red card has been confirmed and the odds are back. So now Cologne are 8.0 to win at home. The draw is 4.50. In fact, that has changed again. So just quickly, let's have a look at that. No, it's still 8.0 for Cologne, 4.50 for the draw, and it's 1.40 for Bayer Leverkusen to win that game. In fact, Cologne just gone up to 9.0. I was expecting it to go a bit higher than that. And of course, all these prices are from NairaBet and is all subject to change.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. As always, done a big blow for FC Köln at home to Bayer Leverkusen, as if their task wasn't tough enough. Let's go and hear about that incident with our very own Ed Dowling.
Yeah, Dean, they didn't take long to confirm the red card. I think for sure he's got to go for the challenge. It was Jan Tillman, one of the Cologne forwards, and Granit Xhaka just accelerates away with the ball. And Tillman's late, and he catches the back of Granit Xhaka's left ankle, and it's high up the leg as well. It's very, very clumsy. Years gone by prior to VAR, you'd have seen a booking for that, but it is dangerous play. Xhaka could have really been injured by that. Thankfully, he's not. And Cologne are down to 10 men. And yeah, the impossible task just got a little bit more impossible for the home side. But 16 minutes gone here, 0-0, but Cologne down to 10 men.
Well, just while I've got you there, Ed, Ljubicic has just I've seen a yellow card as well. They're in real danger of losing their heads, aren't they?
They are, yes. I've just seen the referee points him and book him. It's for dissent, I believe. I think the decision didn't go their way earlier in the phase of play, but they've got to keep their heads here. They need points. They need points desperately. Otherwise, they will be going down or in the dreaded relegation playoff place that they currently find themselves in. The referee's just talking to Ljubicic here. He's been booked. And Cologne have got to sort themselves out because this could get bad real soon. I'm just seeing a replay of the challenge. It's really bad from Tillman. But yeah, 16 minutes gone, 0-0 here in Germany.
Thank you very much, Ed. Straight back to the Philips Stadium, where the visitors are pushing to turn the game on its head, Mark Thomas.
Oh, yes, they are indeed. There was a yellow card for Andre Romalo for a foul just outside the box there a few minutes ago. And from that resulting free kick, we had a couple of great shots on goal. Giroud, first of all, had a one-on-one through. The goalkeeper saved it, punched it out. Fell to Bellin, who was just blocked by a couple of defenders, but he managed to sort of get a shot away around them. And another wonderful, wonderful goal-saving save from Benitez in goal. He was having an excellent game, keeping PSV in it. It's a great match here. Feyenoord are on the up and up. It's 1-1 after 55 minutes.
Thank you, Mark. Straight back to Turf Moor, where Burnley come close once again, Richard Bonds.
Oh, good chance, Burnley. A recycled corner, really, by substitute Manuel Benson, who's instantly come on for only his 6th appearance. He was a player of the season last year, down here with 11 goals. He's whipped a ball in the box. He's tried to pick out Darrow Shea, who's at the back post, setting a big centre off. He's got up, but he can't get his head round the ball, and it's just gone over the bar. Oh, they can't keep missing these chances. It's Burnley 0, Bournemouth 1 with 8 minutes to go.
Thank you very much. And straight back to Serie A, the game between Empoli and Calgary. Richard Freckleton is our man in place, where the home side almost conceded a goal.
Yes, they almost did, Dean, but it still remains on the stroke of half-time. Empoli 0, Cagliari 0. Lampadula cannot believe how he has not put Calgary in front, but a fantastic point-blank save from Capril of Empoli has kept it at 0-0. They've been bossing the game most of the time, Empoli, but really goalkeepers are on top so far, bringing out tremendous saves. Both goalkeepers have been in top form, but as we approach half-time, it is still Empoli 0, Cagliari 0.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Richards. I can tell you the Moroccan Walid Chadira has opened the scoring for Frosinone against Lecce deep into added time in the first half. Frosinone 1, Lecce 0. Chadira with the goal to give the home side the lead. I can tell the halftime whistle has gone in our featured game between Empoli and Calgary. Goalless it is at the break in that one. Half times in Ligue 1, Brest 1, Le Havre 0, Montpellier 0, Strasbourg 0. Montpellier had the ball in the back of the net, but a goal was ruled out for offside. Nantes 0, Metz 0 is also a half-time score. It's half-time in the Women's Super League. Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 2. Aston Villa scoring late into that second half from the penalty spot. Mailing scoring from 12 yards to pull it back and reduce the arrears to Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 2. It's Bristol City 0, Brighton Women 2. Turland and Bremner with the goals for the Seagulls as they look to continue their winning ways in the Eredivisie. We're about quarter of an hour into the second half. Herenveen 1, Spal 0, PSV 1, Feyenoord 1, as you heard in our featured game. And we're just building up, whetting the appetite for our featured game. It's the Manchester Derby. I'm going to join Andrew Podacore once more, who's in place at the Etihad Stadium ahead of this game. Andrew, how excited are you? This big Manchester Derby. I don't think I've ever known it to be swung so far in Manchester City's way.
Absolutely. I can remember the days when it would have been in United's favour. But as you say, the media all week have some people have been talking about, will Man City score 5? Will they score 6? It's a dangerous route to go down, though, because as I said, it's a derby and you never know what could happen. And both managers have really set out their stall. So this is going to be I'm looking forward to a really exciting game. It might not be high on entertainment because Pep, on the one hand, is going all out with Doku, Foden and, of course, Haaland, whereas Ten Hag doesn't name a single player in midfield that you would describe as attack-minded. He's got Mainu, McTominay and Casemiro. They're all tasked with breaking down those City attacks and, I suppose, hoping to pop the ball over the top for the likes of Rashford to run onto. It's fairly predictable as a tactic. It won't be pretty, I guess, but it does give Pep the challenge of breaking them down.
Indeed, and the man leading the line for Manchester City, one Erling Haaland, of course, amongst the goals in that thrashing of Luton in the FA Cup. Just getting the latest odds for him to score 2 or more today, 3.0. To him scoring a hat-trick, 8.50. They seem quite short odds, even for him in this one.
Absolutely. I wonder if that's maybe based on the fact that United's approach to the game is going to be fairly restrictive, but Haaland has made a fool of us before. People expected him to get hat-tricks and 3 or 4 goals and in games that you would expect him to get plenty, but sometimes he just doesn't score, and United are certainly going to target him and try and stop him from finding space.
Indeed. Well, thank you, Andrew. Well, Manchester United will try and keep Erling Haaland from scoring, but Burnley can't keep the ball out of the back of their net.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
It was only a matter of time as Burnley pushed on to find an equaliser. They were going to be caught out. Semenya with the goal to make it Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2. And there's been another goal in Holland.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Where Santiago Tomas Jimenez has made it PSV 1, Feyenoord 2. PSV have won every single game at home this season, but maybe not today. Let's go and hear about that Bournemouth goal for Semenyo with Richard Bond.
Yeah, and it's all from Burnley had the ball in the Bournemouth half, and this time Semenyo, he's had a couple of chances, but he won't going to miss this one. Third time lucky. Ball was played on the halfway line to the right-hand side. Semenyo picked it up. He drove at the Burnley defence. He cut inside, went back onto his left foot, and he's curled an effort into the back of the net, past the keeper. It's game, set, and match for Bournemouth. Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2.
Indeed, yet another home defeat for Burnley. That will be the 11th of the season, the most of any of the teams in the top divisions in Europe, the top 5 leagues across Europe. No team has lost at home more than Burnley, and Burnley are going to extend that unwanted record at home. Speaking of teams that are going to lose potentially at home this season, PSV, well, they don't know what that's like, but potentially they're going to find out today. Mark Thomas can tell us about that second PSV Eindhoven goal.
Yes, it's the away fans that are making all the noise here, Dean. Jimenez has scored. It was a long ball. Minter on the right's been causing all sorts of problems every time he gets the ball. He threaded the ball through, and it was Gertruda. What he was doing getting the ball in the byline in the penalty box, no one really knows, but he did a great job. He took it to the line, slotted it across the centre, and then whilst Jimenez at the back post tapped it in. No one near him. This is a bit of a shock. The local fans here are getting very antsy. There's a lot of misplaced passes, and it's all getting a little agitated for the home team. After 62 minutes, PSV 1, Feyenoord 2.
Indeed, what a thrilling finale we've got on our hands in that one. Can PSV somehow find 2 goals to turn it around and preserve their unbeaten 100% home record? Or will Feyenoord make this title race in the Eredivisie really interesting? The Canadian Theodore Curbino, I'll say that correctly, has pulled a goal back for Granada. It's finished in that one, Villarreal 5, Granada 1, so a late consolation, but nothing more in that game. It's 6 minutes of added time to be played at Turf Moor. It's going to be too little too late, though, surely, for Burnley, who are losing by 2 goals to 0 at home to the Cherries of Bournemouth, whose tails are very much on top as they look to extend the lead to 3. It's time, though, now to hand back to FJ and the team in Lagos. We've got plenty of goals, plenty of action to come when you return, including the big Manchester derby between Manchester City and Manchester United. We'll have all of the action, all the goals as they go in. You're listening to Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
A big thank you to FJ and the team in Lagos. And since you were last with us, there's been plenty of goals.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
including a big goal for Liberato Casais, the New Zealand defender, scoring for Empoli to make it Empoli 0. Empoli 1, Calgary 0. That's the latest score. Let's go and hear about that goal with Richard.
Yes, it's Empoli 1, Calgary 0. And as you say, Kakase doing what all footballers should do and throwing up on a header that was saved. And he followed up on the rebound and to put it past the goalkeeper, Scuffet. So here we are. It's Empoli 1, Cagliari 0.
Well, indeed, we thought it was 1-0. There's a lengthy VAR check going on, and it's been ruled out for offside. So still goalless in that game. Empoli 0, Calgary 0 is the latest score. It's full time in the Premier Division, our featured game between Burnley and Bournemouth. In the early kickoff, it finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2. Let's hear how this one went down with Richard Bond.
Yeah, it's all over here. Finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2. It was a game where you felt both teams really need to win for their own reasons after neither really picked up 3 points since December in the Premier League. Be the Cherries, though, would prevail with a superiority in the final third, proving to be the difference on the day. Burnley would have the better of the play and would come agonisingly close on several occasions. Italy and Neto saving from Larson splendidly with the ball seemingly in the back of the net at one point from a free kick, but that would be the closest Vincent Kompany's side would come, as they would be unable to capitalise a strong first half, which saw Justin Kluivert punish St Deer to strike Bournemouth the lead at the break. Second period would be more even, Burnley more dominating possession, but without really testing. This would always have that killer touch in them, and the final third would be threatening on the counter-attack. Despite Antoine Semenyo missing 2 guiltless chances, the Ghanaian international would finally score a fantastic individual goal, killing a sumptuous strike past the despairing James Trafford to seal the points. Tough for Burnley, remain in deep trouble now in 19th place, but for Bournemouth the win, you'd think would starve off any thoughts of getting sucked into that relegation mix. Finished here, Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2.
It certainly looks like a return to the Championship is on the cards for Vincent Kompany and his men, losing at home for 11th time this season. The first time ever that Bournemouth have got the double over the Clarets. Let's go to the game in the Eredivisie, big game, the top 2 PSV final. Last time we were with Mark Thomas, it was 2-1 to the visitors. Since then, PSV have equalised. There's 5 minutes of added time to be played. We're in the second of those. Mark Thomas, can you describe that equaliser and just exactly what's happened since?
Yes, the equaliser was a thing of beauty. De Jong picked up the ball with a lovely sort of chip volley from just outside the box. And Till, who had just come on the field, Goose Till, came rampaging through on the right-hand side, and he met it with a beautiful side-footed volley that just went into the far corner of the goal. A beautiful goal, a wonderful example of lovely one-touch football. It's been pretty much PSV pushing for the winner since then. It's a bit of a nail-biting finish here. We've got about 2.5 minutes to go. But anything could happen, and hang on to your hats, everybody, because we could have some late drama. It's PSV 2, Feyenoord 2.
Indeed, we're deep in stoppage time there. 16 attempts on goal for PSV, 9 from Feyenoord, 8 on target for the home side, 6 on target for the visitors. The home side have 64% of possession in that game as well. The final few seconds remaining in that game. Big game going on in Germany. It's half time. As FJ told you, Frimpong scored for the visitors against 10-man FC Köln. The half-time whistle has gone. Let's go and hear about that goal and how that first half went down with Ed Dowling.
Yeah, half-time here in Cologne in the Stadium in the west of Germany. And to be honest, for the home side, it was not the best of starts. Jens Hielman with a pretty shocking challenge on ex-Arsenal midfielder Granit Xhaka. He was given his marching orders, and very soon the home side was also down a goal, thanks to a brilliant ball in from Alejandro Grimaldo. Patrick Schick couldn't quite control the ball, and it just fell to Jeremy Frimpong, right man in the right place, as he has been so often. That's his 6th league goal of the season, and that put the away side and the league leaders into a very, very comfortable position indeed. It's half-time here in Germany, 1-0 to Bayer Leverkusen.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Ed Dowling. The teams are out on the pitch at the Etihad. Manchester City versus Manchester United. Our man in place at the Etihad, Andrew Bonacore. Oh, it's just tingling, isn't it? It's ready to get going in a couple of minutes. What's it like inside the stadium?
Absolutely, it is tingling. I don't really usually associate the Etihad with much of an atmosphere, but today the place is rocking. This game just feels like a huge match. I can't remember a game, certainly not this season, that just felt like such a big deal, and it means so much for both teams. City going for the title. They're 4 points behind Liverpool after Liverpool's late win yesterday at Forest, and Manchester United, they just embarking on the new Sir Jim Ratcliffe era, and today's game gives him a chance to see for the first time with his own eyes just what the gap is between the two Manchester clubs. Years ago it was enormous, divisions even separated the two clubs, but now they're both in the Premier League. But it's Manchester City who came all the way from 2 divisions down to top the Premier League list of winners in the last 10 years, and Pep Guardiola has really gone about his business of building a dynasty. This feels like a massive game, Dean.
Indeed it does. It is a massive game. We'll join you very, very shortly for all the action from the Etihad. Meanwhile, in Serie A, there's been a goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Last time we were with Richard Frickleton, it was Empoli who had a goal disallowed, but Calgary have gone up the other end and scored and lead by a goal to nil. Yankto, the man at the double to make it. Empoli nil, Calgary 1. Let's go and hear about it with Richard Frickleton.
Yes, it's Empoli nil, Calgary 1. What a turn up for the book. Or as they say, this has put the cat amongst the pigeons. You wouldn't have expected it, but they've done very well here. A good save from the Empoli goalkeeper, but Yankto followed up on it and kept cool and composed and put it low and hard into the left-hand side of the post. And so they're 1-0 up. So far here we are. It's Empoli nil, Cagliari 1.
Thank you very much, Richard. All to play for, 20 minutes to go. Empoli, of course, on end, or potentially to end their unbeaten 6-game run. The other game in Serie A, Frosinone 1, Lecce 1. Lecce equalising from the penalty spot. Kristofic with the goal from 12 yards to level things there. Montpellier have just equalised against Strasbourg. Montpellier, of course, had a goal ruled out in the first half. Diarra from the penalty spot just after the restart gave the visitors the lead, but Nordin has just nodded in to make it a goal apiece in the game in League elsewhere in Ligue 1, Brest 1, Le Havre 0 and Nantes 0, Metz 2. 2 second half goals. Penalties must be the order of the day. McAtst has scored on the hour mark from the penalty spot, then Udo with a second just 90 seconds later. A quick fire double for Metz as they lead away at Nantes by 2-0. In Nigerian Premier League, Niger Tornadoes 0, Enugu Rangers 2 is a latest score. We've kicked off at the Etihad. It's a really buoyant Etihad as well, and an early touch for Haaland, of course. We mentioned about the odds for him to get a goal today, and Manchester City looking to make a fast start at the Etihad. In the Liga, game kicked off about 15 minutes ago. Atletico Madrid have already scored at home to Betis. An own goal in that game from Luis Silva, the Portuguese goalkeeper, is adjudged to have the final touch to make it Atletico Madrid 1, Real Betis 0. Straight from kickoff, Manchester City have won themselves a corner in that game. In the Women's Super League, West Ham 0, Manchester United 1 is a latest score. Aston Villa Women 1, Liverpool 3, Bristol City 1, Brighton Hove Albion 4 is a latest score as well. And we'll bring the goals as they go in, but let's check in at the Etihad. The first 60 seconds or so underway, and it's been a pretty electric start for the home side, Andrew.
It really has, but to be fair, high energy start from both teams. City with their first attempt on goal. United's game plan is clear. They are trying to get at City, trying to deny them time on the ball, trying to deny them space. It's such a high-risk strategy because it only has to go wrong once and everything falls apart. From the kickoff, it was a bank of 6 and a bank of 4 from United. No pretense at all to try and move forward, to try and attack City. They're just trying to get at them and prevent City from settling into the game. This game is going to be all about City trying to break through that United press and United defensive walls in the plural, and United just trying to frustrate City as far as they can. As I say, Dean, it's a high-risk strategy because it only has to go wrong once, but it's really, frankly, United's only option today.
Indeed, just seeing a picture of it, and everybody except the Manchester City goalkeeper was in the Manchester United final third. That just tells you the dominance territorially of this Manchester City team. Still goalless after about 2 minutes or so in that one. Bristol City have pulled a goal back. It's now Bristol City 2, Brighton 4 in the game in the Women's Super League. There's a shout for a potential penalty at the Etihad. Andrew Burakure is our man in place. What did you make of that challenge there, Andrew?
Well, as I say, it's a dangerous game for them to play, United, but a lovely angle pass from Kevin De Bruyne, and I can't see. I'm not sure if it was Rodri who found a little bit of space, but suddenly was set upon. In fact, it was John Stones who was set upon by several United players and hit the deck. And yes, this is being checked for a potential penalty. But I'd be surprised if this was given. But as you say, the ball and all players apart from Edison are absolutely penned in the United defensive third.
Indeed, it was Casemiro, the man who went through the back of Stones. It just does look that he did get a touch on the ball, and that may well be his saving grace. Let's go and check back in to the game in Serie A, our feature game between Empoli and Calgary. 1-0 to the visitors. Last time we heard any signs of an equaliser in this one, Richard.
Yes, it's still Empoli 0, Cagliari 1, and Nicola, the coach of Empoli, has wasted no time, and he's brought on 3 substitutes to try and change things immediately after that goal. But so far, Cagliari have held out, and the goalkeeper has been well protected, Scoupet, and there has been no chances so far since you were last year. But this is certainly not the end of this game. I can see goal mouth action happening where Empoli will come forward and look to get that equaliser. But so far, it's Empoli 0, Cagliari 1.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. So the big game that we're focusing on for the remainder of Football Live, of course, we've got our big game in Germany as well. But a big game to focus on is the Manchester Derby. We caught up with Pep Guardiola ahead of this one. And here's what he had to say to Football Live.
I expect the best for United, but I don't talk one word about what they do, what the opponents, because I respect too much. And I don't want to misunderstand my words, but when I have a comments, always the people say, yeah, Pep Jeep, and it's never is my intention. So that's why it's better don't say anything. So I know them, and a lot of respect for institution, United, of course, Eric and the players, but when I see what we have to do, my players will know it today and tomorrow.
Yes, welcome back. We're having a bit of technical problems with Dean Kilford. We'll be back with you very, very shortly. Let's go.
Thank you very much. There we go. Sorry.
Here we go. Dean is back. Dean is back. Yes. So you don't need to hear my voice anymore. I'm going back to Dean.
Thank you very much, John. Apologies, listeners there. So we're full time in our big game in the Eredivisie. It was top of the table PSV versus second place Feyenoord. It finished 2 goals apiece, but what a game it was, Mark Thomas.
Yes, absolutely fantastic match and a great advert for Dutch football. Finished 2-2. We had great goals. Both Tillman and Till scored for PSV, and Minter and Jimenez, one each at halftime. The second half didn't live up to the first half billing, to be perfectly honest. Did get a little cagey after the equaliser, and there was some tasty tackles going in. There was a lot at stake there today. We had 7 yellow cards. PSV slightly edged the possession, 17 shots, 9 on target, 8 on target, and Feyenoord only had 9 shots with 6 on target. But I think on the whole, PSV will be happy with this result. They do manage to stay 10 points clear of Feyenoord in second place at the top of the division. Great game here. It did finish. Feyenoord 2, the home team, PSV Eindhoven 2.
is a test of the emergency alert system across the UK and not in any way linked to your attendance at today's fixture.
There we go. Finish two apiece there in the game in the Eredivisie. The top two playing out a draw, still 10 points separating the top two in that division. It's a shame Final couldn't hold on to claim all 3 points. A really interesting game happening in the Women's Super League. Bristol City have pulled another goal back, and there's been a goal in the Manchester derby.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
And all of those that were listening in, phoning in that it was going to be a landslide victory for Manchester City, will put those thoughts on hold. Marcus Rashford has scored an absolute stunner to give Manchester United the lead at the Etihad. Let's go and hear about that goal from Andrew Bonacore.
Absolutely amazing from Man United and amazing from Marcus Rashford. I said their tactic would be to try and bang the ball over the top and catch City unawares. City have been defending quite high up the field to try and add a bit of weight to their attacks. But it started with Andre Onana. He booted the ball over the top, found Bruno Fernandes running through. He didn't have the legs to take on the City defence, so he just checked, popped it back to Marcus Rashford, who was a good 23 yards out and smashed a rising shot into the roof of the net. Absolutely nothing Edison could do. Man City have been caught cold, caught on the hop. Unbelievable after 8 minutes against the run of play and against possession. It's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
What a goal from Marcus Rashford in the headlines for all potentially the wrong reasons. He came out fighting and he's come out and shown his worth here with a quite stunning goal that smashed the underside of the bar. Had shades of Tony Yeboah, for those of you that remember him back for Leeds United against Liverpool all those years ago. What a finish from Marcus Rashford, and the away fans congregated in that corner are celebrating a rather unexpected goal. There had been warning signs before. I wonder if we can get Andrew back just to talk about. There was a warning sign just before the goal with Manchester United looking to break quickly on this Manchester City team. Potentially, that's a weakness Erik ten Hag's looking to exploit.
Absolutely. Just probably a minute or so before that fantastic Rashford strike. As you say, the ball was popped over the top and it was Garnacho who was played in with an opportunity to shoot. So as you say, there were warning signs for City. And I was just thinking at the time, it wouldn't be such a bad thing for City if they allowed United to counter a couple of times, because it doesn't benefit City at all to just relentlessly pass the ball across the front, play it from left to right to try and stretch United, because you can't really stretch a defensive effectively 10 men. So it would be quite good for City to see United have a bit more possession and kind of think that they could just pop the ball over the top and maybe stretch out that United defensive press. But they had the warning sign, Dean, as you said, and then that goal from Onana's just hoof over the top. And as I say, Fernandes didn't quite have the legs, but I'm still stunned by that shot. It was absolutely perfect. I know exactly what you mean about Tony Yeboah. Smashed off the underside of the bar. I think that's one of the most beautiful things in football, Dean.
Indeed, there's no better sight, is it, when the ball smashes the underside of the bar, bounces down and then hits the top of the net. It really is a thing of beauty. And from Manchester United's point of view, this game is going beautifully for them. They have a corner as well as they look to inconceivably extend their lead at the Etihad. Yep, you're hearing me right, listeners. It's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. There's also been another goal in Ligue 1 as Montpellier have conceded a second goal. It's Montpellier 1, Strasbourg 2. And it's Omega, the man who's surely won it for the visitors with about 7 minutes to go. We're into the second half in Germany. FC Köln taking on Bayer Leverkusen. FC Köln, of course, in the relegation places, down to 10 men against league leaders Bayer Leverkusen. But it was almost the home side that equalised, Ed Dowling.
Believe he's not scored, Dean. I cannot believe the ball has come that close and not got in the net. It was Sargis Adamyan. The ball comes in, they're breaking. The very, very rare Cologne break here. The ball comes in, he scissor kicks it in the air. It's a great hit. And it comes, I reckon if it's a centimetre to the left, it goes in off the post. But it just bounces out off the post. And Herdecki is able to recover the ball, but you don't get much close to scoring a goal than that. It's still 1-0 here to Leverkusen, but I suspect there might be some more goals in this one, Dean.
There might well be some more goals. You feel that by Leverkusen, the nerves might start to creep in. Maybe the weight and expectation of victory is going to mount up. But so far, they're undefeated and doing exactly what they need to do in the Bundesliga. And they will stretch their lead as things stand to 10 points over Bayern Munich at the top of the Bundesliga. Now let's go back to the Etihad, when Manchester United are really going for this, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm stunned to see Manchester United had a corner a couple of minutes ago, as you mentioned. I was stunned to see Johnny Evans going up for the corner. Bearing in mind, if City were to break, he's responsible for getting back and sprinting the full length of the pitch. But the Rashford goal has really given United a sense of belief that they can't have started the match with. I have to say, they seem to be so well drilled. They must have been working on this all week in training, because they are hitting that ball diagonally to Garnacho. If the ball is on the left, they're hitting it diagonally to Garnacho on the right, and vice versa. If the ball's on the right, they're finding Rashford. Their passing over the top so far has been absolutely on point. Difficult for them to keep it up for a full 90 minutes, but that goal slightly changes the complexion of the game. They have something to hold on to, but they are still trying to get the ball forward and attack Man City. As you said, they're actually trying to extend their lead. It's a fascinating opening 15 minutes.
Indeed, I'll be with you very, very shortly. I am sure. Still, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. Atletico Madrid missed a penalty at home to Real Betis. Alvaro Morata missing from 12 yards. Still, though, Atletico Madrid lead by a goal to 0. Let's go and check in with John Kane and get the latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. As it stands, it's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. Manchester City to win the game are still favourites. They are 1.67 to turn it around. The draw is 4.50. And away win for Manchester United, who are leading away at the Etihad, are 4.50. Now, those who are actually interested to know what is the first half result will be, well, if you think Man City will win the first half, just go at least 2 goals in the first half, that is, they are 3.60. The draw for the first half is 2.75. And Manchester United to win the first half, and they are leading, they are 2.15. That's very, very generous odds indeed. Now, Manchester City, if they score over 1.5 goals in the first half, regardless of what the first half result would be, is 2.88. So 2 goals or more for Manchester City in the first half are 2.88. We look at some players. Erling Haaland, of course, he is always the favourite to score anytime. He is 1.55. But if you think he's going to be the second player to score the goal, so the next goal scorer, Erling Haaland, at the moment, he stands at 3.30. So if you think he score next is 3.30. Alvarez, he's 7.0 to score the second goal. Oh, if you want to fancy something different, Scott McTominay, he's 23.0. And Rashford, if you think he scored the second goal in this game, well, Marcus Rashford, at the moment, he is 15.0. So he's already scored the first goal. If you score the second, now he's 15.0. Just quickly on some of the other games that are happening at the moment. In the game between Empoli and Cagliari, 3 minutes to go. Empoli 0, Cagliari 1. Empoli are 21.0 to turn it around in the next 3 minutes plus stoppage time. 4.75 for the draw, and it's 1.25 for Cagliari to win that game. It's 1-0 between Frosinone and Lecce. 5 minutes to go plus stoppage time. Frosinone is 5.50 for the draw, for the win. for Frosinone United. Draw is 1.40 and away win for Lecce is 6.50. Atletico Madrid against Betis. As you just heard, Atletico Madrid missed the penalty through Morata and they are firm favourites. They are 1.17 for the win. They're already leading by a goal to nil. The draw is 7.50 and away win for Betis is 17.0. Just quickly go back to the English Premier League game. The odds on that after 17 minutes. Manchester City to win are 1.67. The draw has gone down to 4.20 and away win to Manchester United, who are leading by a goal to nil, is 4.75. Of course, all these odds are from Nairabet and of course all subject to change.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, John. I can tell you this. This game has got goals written all over it. Just the one so far. But since we were last with Andrew Bonacore, there have been chances at both ends.
Absolutely. A great chance for Phil Foden a couple of minutes ago. He was struggling to get the ball under control and the ball found its way to him, slightly running away from goal, but he managed to get his shot off. And Andre Onana with a very good save down with his feet that time. But then just moments ago, a slip from Kyle Walker in the centre circle, and all of a sudden Bruno Fernandes had the chance to play Rashford through. He played him in. I think he was offside in his own half even, but if anything, Rashford was too fast there. He ran just slightly past the ball, couldn't control the ball and bring the ball with him. Otherwise, he would have been through one-on-one for an opportunity to score his and United's second goal. As you say, this game has got goals written all over it. And if United were going to get anything from this game, Dean, they needed everything to go their way. And with Onana saving well with his feet, I just wonder, so far, is everything going their way in the way that they needed to? He made a great save just now with his feet. Everything is lining up in this match for Man United against all odds and against all the pundits' expectations. Absolutely enchanting so far.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join round the corner where the big boys play.
Get involved in Nairabet's Super Sunday Special and net yourself a free bet. Reigning Premier League champions Man City take on Man United at the Etihad Stadium, and we are giving away a 100% matched free bet up to 500 Naira. Whether you back the Citizens or the Red Devils, you will still be eligible for the free bet, regardless who wins. All you need to do is log into www.nairabet.com, bet on Manchester City versus Manchester United, receive your free bet to use in any sports or virtuals. To qualify, just place a bet on either the pre-match market or in play. Full details can be found on our promotions page. Must be over 18, minimum odds of 1.5. Must be a real money bet. Cash out bets do not qualify. General and free bet terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Coming up next Saturday on Football Live.
Yeah!
Arsenal against Brentford.
1, 2, 3, run it!
The Premier League, the Bundesliga,
Serie A, the Saudi Pro League, La Liga, French League 1.
Let it hit them.
around the grounds, chasing the goals.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Around the grounds, chasing the goals.
You are listening to Football Live.
Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
A good type of game of football.
Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by Nairabet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, let's go straight back to our featured game in Serie A. Empoli 0, Cagliari 0. We've got 8 minutes of added time to be played. Any sign of an equaliser in this one, Richard?
No, Dean, it's still Empoli 0, Cagliari 1. What a superb defensive performance since the goal from Cagliari. I have been very impressed with the goalkeeper, Scuffet, and well as the wily old veteran, who some of you remember from the Premier League, Mina, who played for Everton. They've been superb since the goal, and it seems they've been stunned, Empoli, by what's gone on since that particular goal. With 6 minutes of injury time left on the clock, it still remains Empoli 0, Cagliari 1.
Thank you very much, Richard. And now back to the Rhein Energy Stadion, where FC Köln are currently trailing league leaders by Leverkusen by a goal to nil. Last we heard, FC Köln almost snatched an equaliser. Is that as good as it's got so far in this one, Ed Dowling?
Yeah, they got very lucky actually, Cologne. A few minutes ago, Timo Hubers, the centre-back, lost the ball on the halfway line. Obviously in Germany, the lines are pushed really, really high. And if you're losing the ball there, there's no one else to recover it. But he busts the guy, he runs so far and manages to retrieve the ball, because I think if he hadn't made that challenge, or if indeed he was late, he'd have been off, and I think it would have been curtains for Cologne. But since then, I think Leverkusen have had about 8 corners so far. They've been really dominating so far, but they've been deadly on the counter, FC Cologne. So they got a corner here, Cologne, and 62 minutes gone. Wouldn't be surprised if they get an equaliser here, Dean. But Leverkusen well in control so far. 1-0 here, 62 minutes gone.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Ed. Arnaud Nordin has equalised for Montpellier for a second time to make it Montpellier 2. Strasbourg 2, and we're deep into added time there. 7 additional minutes to be played in that game. Let's go back to the big game at the Etihad. Still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. Midway through the first half, how do you assess how this game has gone, Andrew?
Well, it's certainly settled down, and I think if it suits anyone, then it suits City. Then, of course, to make me look like an idiot, Marcus Rashford stumbled into the Man City penalty box with a chance to get on the end of a cross from the left-hand side. If he'd connected on that, he had the chance to guide it past Ederson, but couldn't quite get his feet right, and almost a complete air shot. He even tried to recover the ball whilst off the pitch with his head, but that went out for a goal kick. Chances for City, though. Kevin De Bruyne with an opportunity, and a shaky couple of minutes for Andre Onana. I hate to say it, but he's been singled out as one of the reasons why United have struggled this season. So the game has settled into the pattern that we expected to see. It's Man City trying to kind of ticky-tacker the ball around and find a little bit of space, with Manchester United resorting to 65 minutes of last-minute defending, if you like. But it's definitely a case of Man City once again trying to break them down. But we've seen already, Dean, Man United are more than capable of breaking free from their own press and releasing the likes of Rashford and Garnacho to try and get something at the other end. So it remains a tactical, interesting game. Both managers, I think, are sticking to their guns. But so far, it's United who are on top, surprisingly.
Indeed. There was a potential VAR check for a penalty. Absolutely no reason for that to be checked, in my opinion. What do you make of that one, Andrew?
I think it's been waved off. I think when the ball hits the hand of a defender, it's automatically, there are automatically appeals for a penalty, but you have to have some leeway, and the referee didn't see it as a penalty at all. It did definitely hit Dalot's hand, but he did what almost all defenders do now, and had his hands well within the confines of his torso. So that one rightfully waved away. VAR deciding there was nothing doing. Coming up to 25 minutes gone, still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. Manchester City have just had their 9th corner of the afternoon inside the first quarter of this game. Just for reference point, Manchester United have had 2. Shots-wise, Manchester City have had 7 attempts, just the 2 on target. Manchester United, just 1 effort. That effort has ended up in the back of the net, and they lead by a goal to 0. Speaking of goals, there's been plenty of them in the game between Bristol City and Brighton in the WSL. Last time I updated you, it was Bristol City 3, Brighton 4. It's now Bristol City 3, Brighton 6. A penalty from Losado has added the 6th after Haley had added a 5th. 2 goals late into this one. We're into added time, but still 3 points are certainly going down to the South Coast. It's nervy times in the game in Serie A, where Empoli are pushing hard for an equaliser, Richard.
Yes, it still remains Empoli 0, Cagliari 1, and Super once again is the hero in the Cagliari goal. A pinpoint shot inside the box, and he carried the ball away for a corner when it could have easily gone in the inside of the post, because it was a powerfully hit shot but he doesn't look like he's going to be beaten today unless something dramatically happens within the next minute. But so far, it's Empoli 0, Cagliari 1.
Thank you very much, Richard. Full-time scores in the Eredivisie. As you heard in our featured game, it finished PSV 2, Final 2. The other game taking place, it was Heerenveen 2, Zwolle 0. Those were the two full-time scores from the early games in the Eredivisie. In League 1, it's finishing all three games taking place earlier on. Brest 1, Le Havre 0, and Montpellier 2, Strasbourg 2, Nantes 0, Metz 2. They're all full-time scores. The full-time whistle was gone in Serie A. Empoli 0, Calgary 1 is a full-time score. We'll join Richard Fregelton very shortly for a full-time report from that game as Empoli's 6-game unbeaten run comes to an end. It's finished in the WSL. Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 4, and Brighton have scored a 7th goal against Bristol City. It's now Bristol City 3, Brighton 7. What a stunning statement of intent for the Seagulls in that one. 3 goals in the last minute or so of that game, plus full time, plus stoppage time, I should say, in that one. At the Etihad Stadium, it's still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. All the play is taking place in the Manchester City final third. Let's go and check back in, though, and hear about the full-time reports from our featured game in Italy. Empoli 0, Calgary 1 was a full-time score. Was it a full and valid 3 points for the visitors, Richard?
Certainly valid, Dean. If you look at the table in Serie A, this is a vital 3 points for Cagliari. I mean, it really puts the cat amongst the pigeons, and it may draw Empoli back into the mire of a relegation dogfight. This certainly was not expected when you look at the record that Cagliari have, where they had no clean sheets in 8 games and they haven't won a match in 6 games. But surprises do happen. This was one. Goalkeepers were very much on top in this game, but a deflection led to Jenko coolly slotting the ball inside the box to get the winner. And after that, it was very much bodies on top in the defence of Cagliari, with Mina and, as I said, the goalkeeper, Scufford, the heroes in the defence of Cagliari. So at this moment, well, the game is finished now. It's Empoli 0, Cagliari 1.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Richard. So big 3 points for the visitors there. They remain third from bottom, but now just 2 points separate Calgary in 18th and 13th place. Lecce have leapfrogged above Empoli following their 1-1 draw away at Frisnon and Empoli's defeat here this afternoon. So it's tight at the bottom of Serie A. Of course, at the top, it's not tight at all. Inter, 12 points clear at the top of Serie A with 69 points to 26. Then come Juventus in second with 57 from the same number of games played. There's been a second goal in Madrid. It's Atletico Madrid 2, Betis 0. And Alvaro Morata has made up for his penalty miss by scoring the second goal for Atletico Madrid. It's Atletico Madrid 2, Real Betis 0. Straight back to the Etihad, where chances keep coming for the home side, but they just can't score, Andrew.
Absolutely. It just feels like City are obsessed with scoring via, like a beautifully reverse angle pass from Bernardo Silva or Kevin De Bruyne. But the penalty box in front of Onana is so packed with bodies, mostly in red shirts. I don't understand why they're not shooting from a bit further away. They are managing to stretch United, however. Jeremy Doku really just hugging the left-hand touchline, managed to get the ball under control, took on 3 players, just wormed his way into the United box and shot on goal, but fired it wide, skewed it high and wide of the Onana goal. But United are starting to get, let's say, a little bit scrappy with some of their passing. And as I say, if City could kind of let go of that obsession with scoring lovely, beautiful goals, they just don't have the space in the box to do that. So I think maybe the advice from Pep should be for people like De Bruyne, who can strike a ball better than probably anyone in world football at the moment, try and get your shots in from a bit further away than you have done so far. But yeah, an enthralling and absorbing first half so far. It's still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. As Manchester City go on the attack yet again, 2 opportunities. First for Doku and then for Erling Haaland. What a fast start for Galatasaray in the Turkish Super League. They're away at Besiktas. Besiktas flying high at 4th in the table themselves. It's taken just 2 minutes for the deadlock to be broken in that game. It's gone down as an own goal from Al Masrati, and it's disappointing for him as Besiktas a trail after just 2 minutes at home to Galatasaray, who would leapfrog Fenerbahce as things stand. And there's been a second goal in Germany.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
FC Köln pushed at the start of the second half despite having 10 men to get an equaliser. But it's the league leaders who are surely going to claim all 3 points again here this afternoon. They've scored a second goal. It's Grimaldi with it, and it was well worth it in the end. By Leverkusen, lead by 2-0, and are certainly on course to stretch their lead at the top of the table to 10 points. Just go and hear about that goal from Ed Dowling.
Yeah, second goal for Leverkusen. Xabi Alonso does not celebrate, and it's a bit of a misery compiler for Cologne. They just made a substitution, and the substitute immediately pulled his hamstring and then had to be replaced by another substitute. And then 2 minutes later, Grimaldo goes on the other end. It's a lovely little 1-2 of Jonas Hoffmann on the left side. Very Xabi Alonso type play, quick into passing in the Cologne box, and he finishes coolly beyond the goalkeeper. That should put this game out of sight. But I have to say, I think Cologne have been really, really unfortunate today in a number of different ways. But Leverkusen will take that. They're looking to go 10 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. It's 2-0 here, 73 minutes play.
Yeah, big goal in Germany. I can give you the latest scores, or the half-time scores in the Nigerian Premier League. Heartland 1, Sunshine Stars 1. It's just kicked off in the second half. Lobi Stars 0, Katsina United 0, Niger Tornadoes 0, Enugu Rangers 2, and Plateau United 0. Bendel 0. There are the later halftime scores, or the latest scores in the case of the game between Lobi Stars and Katsina United. Let's go straight back to the Etihad, where Manchester City had another great chance to level things.
Yeah, they're trying to turn the screw on Manchester United, and I think now, Dean, this game has descended into exactly what we expected. United desperately trying to keep City out. It was... well, how many times have we seen the ball pop out of the 6-yard box to the edge of the penalty box for Rodri to slot the ball home? He did that in the Champions League final, didn't he, last season? On this occasion, just slightly off balance and skewed his shot. But it was on target, and Onana did well to get down to keep the ball out. But with 10 minutes to go to half-time, the City go close again through De Bruyne. It's still Man City 0, Manchester United 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Rodri, I should say, has unbeaten in his last 39 games in a Manchester City shirt, going over a full season unbeaten. Could that record be broken this afternoon? Well, the way it's going, it looks to be that way. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1, with just under 10 minutes or so to go at the Etihad. It's now half-time in Madrid. Atletico Madrid 2, Real Betis 0 is a half-time score. In the Eredivisie, it's Sittard 2, Excelsior 0. Longwich with the first goal after 13 minutes, and Sirhis has scored a second just 2 minutes later to make it Sittard 2, Excelsior 0 in the Eredivisie. Games kicking off in the Confederation Cup. Club African 0, Academica 0, Future FC 0, Al Hilal 0, Rivers United 0, Dreams 0, and USM Alga 0, Supersport United 0. So goalless in all those games, only about 7 minutes or so gone. And in Ligue 1, it's just kicked off between Rennes and Lorient, goalless in that game. Let's go and check back in our featured game in the Bundesliga. FC Köln conceding that second goal after making those changes. Have they been able to find any shape or any signs of them getting back into this game at all, or has the stuffing well and truly been knocked out of the mid?
Yeah, it's I just can't see them getting back into this now with 10 men and then just having a substitute completely wasted within 3 minutes because of injury. they've been really, really unlucky, I think, and hitting the post. I mean, so close to equalising as well. Cologne have been very, very unlucky, but Leverkusen they've done what they need to do. They've picked up the chances and scored them when they need to. They haven't had loads of chances. They haven't had loads of shot on goal, but they've made it count when they need to. And it looks like they're going to coast here to another 3 points, and it looks like Cologne will spend another week in the relegation playoff space, which is not looking good for them, but looking very good for Leverkusen. I think if you're Bayern Munich watching on here, you must be ruining Cologne's luck, because there's been no luck here today whatsoever. 77 minutes gone. It's 2-0 to Leverkusen.
Thank you very much, Ed. Could be one win in 11 should the results stay as it is. FC Köln 0, Bayer Leverkusen 2. At the Etihad, Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1 is the latest score. The assist came from a certain Bruno Fernandes, who was in the news this week with his manager, Erik ten Hag, asking Fulham to apologise for a bit of social media they put up against about Bruno Fernandes, claiming that he goes down rather easily and wins and tries to win free kicks and fake injuries. Here's the response from Marco Silva, the Fulham manager, on this controversy.
Okay, it was a reaction from Ten Hag. When a manager defends one football player, I think is a normal situation. If he's one of our players, I'm going to defend them until the last. We all noticed that Ten Hag said that he hasn't seen the post. That is the situation. Firstly, let's talk about Bruno as well, because he's the captain of Man United. He's a player that I know really well, and he's a top player. He's a top professional. This is what I can say about him. Top quality player and top professional.
There we go. So Marco Silva sort of jumping to the defence of his media department, but also not blaming Erik ten Hag for trying to stick up for his man. And his man is in action right now, and his team are leading at the Etihad by a 1-0. Let's go and check in with Andrew Bonacore just to see how things are settling. And Manchester City going to find a way past this Manchester United defence.
You would have to think that they will, Dean, but it's just so difficult for Manchester United to keep up this kind of relentless block, if you like, against Man City. But it's difficult for Man City to come up against it. The likes of Foden and Doku are really hugging the touchlines to try and stretch United out. But there are just so many players. I think we've got 10 players in red shirts in the United box, keeping Foden's cross out just now. There's just no space for Man City. I think they're going to have to try something different. And I just wonder, I mentioned earlier on, whether it's a decent idea for City to maybe defend and press from a little bit deeper in their own half, but just give United a taste that they might be able to bring the ball forward a bit more and try and stretch them up the field of play instead of just across it, because as I say, there are so many red shirts in that United box. But 5 minutes to go until half time, and it remains Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. Manchester City with 10 corners already in this first half. Just coincidentally, the Premier League record for the most corners won in the first half is Chelsea with 13 corners. That game was against Everton back in the 2016-2017 season. 10 corners so far inside the opening 40 minutes for Manchester City, but no way past Onana in the Manchester United goal, despite their best efforts. 14 attempts on goal, just the 3 on target. For comparison, Manchester United with 2 attempts on goal, just the 1 on target. That one being that absolute rocket of a goal from certain Marcus Rashford. Okay, so about 5 minutes to go before half time at the Etihad. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. Our featured game in Germany is FC Köln 0, Bayer Leverkusen 2. There's about 10 minutes or so left to go in this one as the game petered out now to a bit of a damp squid, Ed.
It has. It's just been Bayer Leverkusen possession in the Cologne third. They're looking, I think, for that third goal to well and truly kill this game off. We've seen a bit of lashing out from Cologne defenders. They're not really happy with some of the time wasting from the away side, but the game's petered out. I'm looking at the shape now of Cologne, and they're really deep. There's about 5 behind the ball at any given time, really. I think they're just looking to keep this respectable. I think they know when they're beat here. Clinical performance from Leverkusen, but I could see nothing other than an away win for Xabi Alonso's men here today, Dean. But, stranger things have happened. I don't think they will happen today. About 10 minutes left of normal time. It's 2-0 to Bayer Leverkusen here in Cologne.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Ed. Just said a stat about the passes in the final third. Manchester City have had 177 passes in the Manchester United final third. Manchester United with 22. But the key one was the assist from Bruno Fernandes to Marcus Rashford, which has given the away side the lead. Plateau United have taken the lead against Bendel 7 minutes after the interval. It's Plateau United 1, Bendel 0 in the Nigerian Premier League. Let's go back to the Etihad. Another chance for Manchester City and another miss.
Yes, absolutely. City players literally queuing up for the ball this time. The City are trying something different. They got the likes of John Stones, who is down as a defender, but he's playing almost supporting the attacking players. So they're having players pop up in unexpected positions, and for the last 2 or 3 minutes, Cole Walker has been overlapping and trying to get in that gap, that tiny gap between the United defenders and the United goal. But just on that occasion, he managed to get in behind the defenders, cross the ball over. Jeremy Doku, the ball was absolutely perfect for him. He's just waiting for it to drop. A pair of United studs got in the way, and the ball fell instead absolutely perfectly for Kevin De Bruyne. And you think, if he gets this on target, this could go in. He missed by absolutely miles. It was a horrible miss. Just snatched at it and skewed the ball up and wide, well high and wide of Onana's goal. United will lap that up all day. It's a perfect way for them to start thinking about half-time if they can keep out Man City. But their approach has remained exactly the same from second one, and it's working very, very much in their favour. It's still Man City 0, Man United 1.
Good stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. Let's go straight back to the game between FC Köln and Bayer Leverkusen. Almost a chance for the away side to extend their lead. Ed Dowling.
Yeah, it's pretty criminal stuff, actually, from Nathan Teller, former Southampton player. He gets into such a good position. The XG, not to get all technical, but the XG must have been extremely high in the position that he found himself in. And instead of taking the shot, he tries to sort of do a Cruyff turn back pass, trying to score the perfect goal. Xabi Alonso absolutely raging. Should have been 3-0 there, but they're messing around with it a bit too much, much to the annoyance of the Spaniard in the dugout. Still 2-0 here, but it seems like Leverkusen is just playing with Cologne at this point in time. Got about 8 minutes left to go. There should have been another goal there, but it's still 2-0.
Thank you very much, Ed. Still 2-0 there. How on earth is it still 1-0 to Manchester United at the Etihad Stadium? Possibly the biggest miss of the season for Erling Haaland from point-blank range. Really should have levelled things up for the home side in that game, but it remains Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. Pep Guardiola with his head in his hands. We'll join Andrew Bonacore to hear about that awful miss from the man who's red hot in front of goal.
Absolutely amazing. I genuinely can't believe what I've seen. I was just thinking, I was just wondering whether Haaland has had a chance on goal at all in the entirety of the first half. And there, as the game just walks into injury time, Phil Foden found some space at the far post. The ball was clipped over the United defence across the penalty area. He headed the ball back across goal. Haaland had an open goal. He was no more than a yard away from the goal line. Onana was completely beaten. Varane had totally given up on trying to stop him because the Norwegian striker had got in front of the French defender, and he just couldn't get the ball under control. He first time shot, and he just side-footed the ball straight over the bar. He looked around. He just couldn't believe what had happened. And even Pep Guardiola was almost already celebrating the equaliser, and all of a sudden he has to deal with the fact that his top striker, his expensive striker who's been busting all kinds of records since he signed for Manchester City, missed an open goal from just 1 yard out. Extraordinary here at the Etihad, just going into injury time, and it's still Manchester City 0, Manchester United won.
A huge, huge miss, which could have implications in the title race and, of course, in the race for the Champions League, when Manchester United, with victory today, would reclose that gap to 3 points on Tottenham Hotspur in 5th place and be within 7 points of Aston Villa. And with those two teams playing each other next Sunday, it could be a real opportunity for Manchester United to sneak in to those Champions League places. Manchester City piling on the pressure. But you will not get a better chance than the one Erling Haaland has just missed moments ago for the hosts. Do get in touch with your thoughts, with your say on Twitter or X, and let us know at Dean Kilford at Football Live. With your thoughts. Many of you expected an easy victory for the home side, but it's been anything but in the first half of this game. There's 3 additional minutes to be played. We're into the third of those as Manchester City are just camped outside the Manchester United penalty area. But can they get a shot on goal? That's the question. Meanwhile, City have scored a 3rd goal against Excelsior. And it's Searhouse's 2nd of the afternoon, his 2nd header of the afternoon as well, to make it Cesar 3, Excelsior 0. Big result for them in the Etihad, as Pep Guardiola is in deep conversation, humorous conversation, I should say, with the 4th official, as another Manchester City corner is wasted. So just waiting for the halftime whistle to go there into the final minute. In kind of fact, the halftime whistle has gone at the Etihad Stadium, and Pep Guardiola does not look a happy man as he walks down the tunnel. FC Köln versus Bayer Leverkusen into the final minute of that one. Any sign of a 3rd goal for the visitors, or are they happy with their lot?
I think they're happy with their lot. I think Cologne have totally stopped playing. I don't blame them either. They've made a load of changes. I think they're just trying to keep this respectable now. But as a contest, I think this is completely done. Leverkusen just bossing the ball. I'd love to see the possession stats after the game. In fact, I've got them right here in front of me. And it's been 80% ball possession in this game so far. That will give you an idea of how this game's gone. To anyone not watching, it's been total dominance with a hint of bad luck for the home side. But we're only a few minutes away from added time. I'm not expecting there to be too much injury time. But this looks like a surefire win for Xabi Alonso's men. 2-0 here in Cologne.
Thank you very much, Ed. Let's go and check in with Andrew Bonacore. The halftime whistle gone. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. Not the scoreline that many of us were expecting, Andrew.
Absolutely not. And I've got to say, an extraordinary 45 minutes of Premier League football. We were told that this would be the most one-sided Manchester derby almost in history, and instead it's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. Onana possibly the man of the match for United so far, if you discount that incredible strike from Rashford, but we'll come to that in a second. Onana has saved from Foden 2 times, Doku, Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne, but the defining moment, the defining strike of this game so far came on 3 minutes, a ball over the top, played Bruno Fernandes through, and he didn't quite have the legs to take on the City defence, but he had the wisdom and the awareness to just look around him, just checked on his stride and played the ball into the path of Marcus Rashford. He struck it first time. The weight of the pass was perfect. He didn't have to break his stride at all. He smashed it, and the ball just kept rising and rising and rising. It flicked past the gloves of Ederson in the City goal, and it smashed in off the underside of the City bar for an absolutely wonderful strike that really it would deserve to win any game. We've still got so long to go in this match, and the pattern for the rest of the game from City has to be that kind of relentless ticking over of the ball, trying to stretch that United defence out wide and try and get some space, but there is no space at all. How City have managed to keep themselves going is really amazing to me. They may have to change tack, and as I said a couple of times in the first half, perhaps allow United to come onto them a bit more to try and get some space in behind them. But so far, that Manchester United defensive pairing of Varane and 36-year-old Johnny Evans have kept Erling Haaland absolutely silent until he had his one chance of the match after the first minute of injury time. And would you believe it, as we saw, Dean, he missed a wide open goal from just a yard out. could it be, Dean? Could it be that everything is going to go Man United's way this afternoon? So far, it has done, and at half-time at the Etihad, it's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. Go and get yourself a well-earned cup of tea as you warm up at the Etihad. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1, a scoreline I don't think anybody saw coming going into this game. Garcia is having quite the day. He's completed his hat-trick inside 35 minutes for Etihad as they now lead Excelsior by 4 goals to 0. Quite an explosive first half for them. And Future FC have taken the lead against Al Hilal Benghazi. They lead by a goal to 0 in the Confederation Cup. That brings you up to date with the latest scores. It's half time, as I mentioned, in Spain. Atletico Madrid 2, Real Betis 0. We're into the final 30 seconds in Germany. Köln 0 by Leverkusen 2. The lead at the top of the Bundesliga is going to stretch to 10 points from Bayer Leverkusen over Bayern Munich. And Harry Kane, who went, of course, to Germany in probably expectation of trophies. Well, it looks like he's going to get himself maybe a top scorer's medal, but it doesn't look like he's going to get any other type of silverware. It is full time in Germany. It's finished. FC Köln 0 by Leverkusen 2. Let's go and hear about how this game went down with Ed Dowling.
Yes, full-time here in Cologne, and it's a well-deserved victory for Bayer Leverkusen. Both goals coming from either wing-back, Jeremy Frimpong in the first half and Alex Grimaldo in the second half. A really clinical job here. The home team got a lot of poor luck, I have to say, hitting the post and then having a substitute quickly get injured and be replaced by another substitute. But Xabi Alonso's men did the job here in Germany. They're now 10 points clear in the Bundesliga. The league is looking really good for them. And as for Cologne, they are still mired in 16th, 8 points off the next place, which would take them out of the relegation playoff space. But for them, it's not looking good. But for Leverkusen, it's another great weekend for Xabi Alonso's men. It's finished here in Cologne, 2-0 to Bayer Leverkusen.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Ed. So let's just run through our featured games here this afternoon on Football Live. It finished in the North London derby in the WSL. Arsenal 1, Tottenham 0. Alicia Russo's goal, the difference between the two sides in front of 60,000 at the Emirates Stadium. It finished Burnley 0, Bournemouth 2. Surely it's game over for Burnley as they're going to be heading towards the Championship, while Bournemouth, their safety could well be secured for a crucial 3 points and a first victory of the calendar year for the Cherries and a league double over Burnley. In the big game at the top of the Eredivisie, it finished PSV 2, Feyenoord 2. Nothing could separate the two teams on the fourth meeting of the season, but the gap at the top of the Eredivisie remains at 10 points. And with just 10 games left to play, maybe that is game over in terms of Feyenoord's title chances. In Serie A, it finished Empoli 0, Calgary 1. A late goal 10 minutes from time saw all 3 points for Calgary, who have reduced the deficit between themselves and Empoli to just 2 points. Indeed, just 2 points separate Calgary, who occupy that third from bottom 18th position in the relegation zone, to 15th placed Empoli, who lost for the first time in 7 games this afternoon. And as you just heard from Ed Dowling, it finished Cologne 0, Köln 0 by Leverkusen 2. By Leverkusen extend their lead at the top of the Bundesliga to 10 points. And at the Etihad, our big game, it's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1. We'll be back for the second half. All the action from the second half with Andrew Bunacore and myself. But it's time to head over to Lagos, to FJ and the team. You have been listening to Football Live.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, FJ and the team. A lot of mixed opinions from you listeners calling in and how you think this second half is going to go between Manchester City and Manchester United. It's the away side that lead by a goal to 0 with already 3 minutes into the second half. And yes, Enugu Rangers 2 goals to the good, maybe a player general manager is the right thing that needs to. Maybe Pep needs to get his boots back on if Manchester City are going to get themselves back into this one. Well, let's go and hear how this second half has started with our reporter at the Etihad, Andrew Podakure.
Yes, exactly as you were in the first half. No changes from either manager, and incredibly, Dean, after 3 minutes of the second half, the ball played over the top, and this time it was Scott McTominay who was racing down the right wing. You never would consider him to be blessed with fantastic pace, and although he did have a great deal of green grass in front of him, he couldn't quite use it to his advantage. City, however, much of the same. A great save just there from Onana, who's had a very, very influential game so far. So often the critics for Manchester United this season, but he probably more than no other player in the Man United team has done the most to keep out this City side. Yes, much of the same. City just trying to break down that press, and it is literally at times, Dean, 6 defenders, 4 midfielders, no attackers for Manchester United. But Pep has to find a way to break this down. It's very, very common that they come up against a team like this. They would often play this way in the Champions League against a team that just wants to try and frustrate them. So Pep has to find a way through. 5 minutes gone already in the second half, and it's still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. It's time now to check in once again with John Kane and get the latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. 50 minutes gone, it's still Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1, as you just heard from Andrew Bonacora and Dean Kilford. Manchester City, to turn it around, they are 1.91, so they're still very firm favourites for that. In fact, it's just gone up to 1.95. The draw is 3.40, and Man United, to maintain that lead, they are 4.0. I'll come back to that very, very shortly. I can tell you, Besiktas are losing to Galatasaray in the Turkish Super League by a goal to 0. They are playing at home with 40 minutes gone. Besiktas turn around. They're 8.0 if you fancy them, 4.50 for the draw, and 1.40 for a Galatasaray away win. In French League 1, right against Lorient, still 0-0 after 35 minutes. Rennes are 1.80 for the win. The draw's just gone down to 3.10, and away win for Lorient is 6.0. In the German Bundesliga, 10 minutes gone. It's already a goal in between Hoffenheim and Werder Bremen, and it went for the home side. Hoffenheim 1, Werder Bremen 0. Hoffenheim are 1.40 for the win. The draw is 5.50, and away win for Werder Bremen is 7.0. Now let's go back to the big game today, the Manchester derby between Manchester City and Manchester United. It's still Man City 0, Man United 1. Now, if you're talking about goals rather than results, if you think it's going to be over 2.5 goals, it's only 1.50. If you think it's going to be over 3.5 goals, it's 2.40. And that doesn't matter for which team. Now, if you want to go even further, we all know, we say we always used to goals with Dean Kilford, so it's over 4.5 goals in the game. It doesn't matter who for, it's 4.50. Of course, all these prices from NairaBet, and it's all subject to change.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, John. Give us the latest powered by NairaBet. Whilst we were talking with John, Real Betis pulled a goal back against Atletico Madrid. William Carvalho scoring in the 62nd minute to make it Atletico Madrid 2, Real Betis 1. Game very much on in La Liga. In the Nigerian Premier League, Lobby Stars have doubled their lead against Katsina United's 2-0. And in the Confederations Cup, it's Rivers United 0, Dreams from Ghana 1. That's the latest score. That brings you up to date with the goals going in as they go in around the biggest and best games in the world. Let's check back into the Etihad Stadium with Andrew. I've got your alter ego there. Andrew Bonaccore, who can bring us up to speed with a pretty similar setting to what we saw for much of the first half.
Absolutely. I think you might have the United goalkeeper on your mind, Dean. We've got a very interesting, probably the last 2 minutes, Dean, with Man United treating this as a normal game. It's for the last 2 minutes, it's been Manchester United passing the ball around, and Manchester City have been the team who have been blocking them out and hoping to hit them on the break. And I think that's actually potentially City's best chance, because it gives it stretches out the United team a bit more up and down the field rather than just across it, because that's been Manchester City's tactics so far, to try and stretch across that defence. But there are so many players, it's very, very difficult to do. I think if they were to give United some encouragement and make them think that, why don't you come and attack us a bit of it, you might get a second goal. That might work in Man City's favour. Man City really don't have pace, apart from Haaland, but I can't really see Man City, or Man United rather, allowing a great deal of space behind a high line up to the halfway line. So I don't think Haaland would ever get the chance to exploit that. But it's absolutely much of the same. Kevin De Bruyne now doing his work down the right-hand side, and I guess in the hope that he can get a decent crossover. But Doku still hugging that left touchline and hoping to get possession and wriggle his way into the United box once again. But at times, Dean, it's slowed down to pedestrian speed, as Man United literally are just saying to Man City, you have the ball, you do what we want, and we're just going to go about our business. It's working for them so far. We've had 55 minutes of this game gone, and it's Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Just a point to prove how dominant and how deep this Manchester United backline can be. Marcus Rashford was the deepest player back, and it wasn't a corner. It was just from normal play, picking the ball up for his side. And the goal has been scored at the Etihad.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Phil Foden has got the home fans on their feet with an equally stunning strike to match Marcus Rashford into the top corner to make it Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1. Game very much on at the Etihad. I was just about to say that the Manchester United women's side have just conceded an equaliser to West Ham. Well, they have. And so have the men's team. Let's go and hear about that fantastic Foden goal from Andrew Bonnecourt.
What an absolute beauty from Phil Foden. I can never work out if he's left-footed or right-footed. He smashed this in a la Marcus Rashford, more of an angle potentially, and a tiny bit closer to goal. He was found by Rodri on the right-hand side of the Man United box, cut inside, got past, I think it was Casemiro, and absolutely smashed his shot into the top left-hand corner. I said that Manchester City's best option potentially was to try and strike from distance, but that was mainly based on the number of red shirts in front of Onana. But there was no red shirt obscuring his view. No chance of a deflection there. That went in as clean as you like. We now have game on. What are United going to do in response to that Man City equaliser? But I've got to say, I thought there was a foul in a Manchester United attack. I thought it was a foul by Kyle Walker on Marcus Rashford. There was definitely a hand on the arm and Rashford went down. And I was a little bit surprised that no free kick was given. And then all of a sudden the ball's up the other end and in the back of the Manchester United net. Possible controversy. The Man United bench don't seem too fussed about it, but they've got something to think about now. How do they approach the remaining 33 minutes of this game? Do they try and stick with what they've got, or do they try and stretch out and try and use the likes of Rashford again? Garnacho's been quiet, so maybe it's time to see something from him going forward. But now we've got an absolutely fascinating remaining 33 minutes, because at the Etihad Stadium it's now Man City 1, Manchester United 1.
Indeed, Andrew. As Manchester United looked to break, it was similar in a sense. They looked to break quickly. Rashford was running through on goal. So, as you said, there was a tug of the shirt from Kyle Walker. It could well have been more danger than just a free kick. Had it been given, there might have been further punishment. And in the aftermath of that, Erik ten Hag was shown a yellow card.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He certainly calmed down fairly quickly, but he let his feelings known to the fourth official, and obviously the referee must have heard something as well. But Kyle Walker was definitely, he wasn't beaten for pace, because it's very difficult to beat Kyle Walker for pace. But Rashford very cleverly took the ball and went in front of Kyle Walker, and yeah, Kyle Walker, in my opinion, brought him down. I was surprised that no free kick was given, And as I said, potential controversy surrounds the Manchester City equaliser, but the referee waved United's protests away, and I don't think VAR even went back to check the foul. So to some degree, Man City have got away with that one. Doku now being replaced by Julian Alvarez. Great performance by Doku. He did everything he possibly could to try and break down that Man United defence, but now Pep is trying something different. He's got the goal he needed to get back on level terms. Now he's got to work out how he's going to get all 3 points, because no question, Dean, he needs them.
He does need them indeed. Big points at stake in both the top of the table and in the race for the Champions League places. Let's bring you up to speed with some of the other scores elsewhere in the Nigerian Premier League. Heartland 1, Sunshine Stars 1. About 10 minutes or so left to go in that one. Went to added time. Lobby Stars 2, Katsina United 0 is the latest score. Surely all 3 points for Lobby Stars in that one. Niger Tornadoes 0, Enugu Rangers 2. The player / general manager inspiring his side potentially to all 3 points. About 10 minutes or so left to go in that one. Plateau United 2, Bendel 0 is a latest score into the last minute of normal time in that game. In La Liga, Atletico Madrid 2, Betis 1. In the Eredivisie, it's just kicked off in the second half. Sittard 4, Excelsior 0. It's half-time in the Turkish Super League. Big game. Besiktas 0. Galatasaray won their own goal after 90 seconds. The difference between the two sides. There's just a bit of a coming together at the Etihad. The referee just having a quick conversation between Onana and Nathan Ake. We will resume. It's another Manchester City corner, if you hadn't guessed. Half-time in the Confederation Cup. Club African 0. Academica 0. Future FC 2, Al Hilal Benghazi 0. A second goal there for Sadik just on the stroke of half time, giving Future FC a 2-goal cushion. Rivers United 0, Dreams 1, and USM Alga 1, Super Sport United 0. We're just approaching half time in League 1. Rennes 0, Lorient 0. In fact, the half time has just gone in that game. We're about 20 minutes into the game in the Bundesliga between Hoffenheim and Werder Bremen, and Bayer's goal after 8 minutes is the difference between the two sides. Hoffenheim 1, Werder Bremen 0 is a latest score. And that result would see Hoffenheim leapfrog Werder Bremen in the race for the Europa Conference League places, as those two teams currently locked on 30 points apiece. There's plenty of things going on. Our big attention, our big focus is our game at the Etihad Stadium. We heard in the first half from Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola. This is what Erik ten Hag had to say ahead of this game.
We are also in a good run. The spirit is very good. We are united. We are in togetherness now to make a good game plan. We have it done before and against City, lately against Liverpool. So we will prepare well. Players are ready for it. Players are looking forward to it. I can smell it when I'm around here, when I speak with the players. Really enjoyable. Looking forward, excited.
Excited he was until about 5 minutes ago when his side led by a goal to 0. And Manchester City with 22 shots already inside the opening hour, 5 of which have been on target for Manchester United. Just the 2 shots in this game, one of those coming with that 8th minute goal from Marcus Rashford, which did give them the lead until that wonder strike from Phil Foden. Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1, the latest score. Let's rejoin Andrew Whitaker at the Etihad to see how this has shaped up since that equaliser.
Yeah, still City trying to break United down. United, I think, if anything, they've managed to drop a little bit deeper, and I still think City would benefit from allowing them to come on a little bit, because bearing in mind that the City goal came moments after a Man United attack. They played the ball over the top to Rashford, as we know, and he was, in my opinion, pulled back. But City really have to try and carry on. They've made the change with Alvarez coming on for Doku. Not entirely convinced what Alvarez gives them over Doku, because I thought Doku was having a decent contribution. But I'd say so far, potentially, man of the match for Man City has been Phil Foden. I think De Bruyne has been disappointing, and Haaland has been, well, from that miss in the first half, he's been an absolute disaster. But we have now about 27 minutes of Manchester City trying to break down Manchester United. I don't think we're going to see much attacking intent from Manchester United unless it's handed to them on the plate by City, who may be giving away possession. But I think we're just going to have exactly more of the same. Onana, in fact, has gone down, and I wonder if this is a little bit of play acting from the Manchester United goalkeeper. But he's called for the trainer and claims to have tweaked something, maybe at the bottom of his hamstring. But I think the time wasting will start now from Manchester United, because they are desperate to keep hold of this point. City equally desperate to get the other two from them. It's still at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live. Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join Corner Corner where the big boys play.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bets must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Coming up next Saturday on Football Live.
Yeah!
Arsenal against Brentford.
1, 2, 3, run it.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga,
Serie A, the Saudi Pro League, La Liga, French League 1.
Let it hit them.
around the grounds, chasing the goals.
Hello and a very good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Absolute screamer.
Banging form.
Into dreamland.
Oh my God, they were crying.
What was he doing in the box?
Check my phone, mate, he's not in there.
He looks thoroughly disgusted.
They've been absolutely brilliant. That's proper.
So much to tell you about.
So much going on.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
In the Premier League, you just never know.
You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM. Let's get back to the action on Football Live. Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Yes, indeed. Next Saturday looks to be shaping up to be a good one. I'll be there alongside Johnny Holmes, Matt Smith, Patrick Norritt, Jackson Cole and Ash Sanderford as we bring you the biggest and best games across the footballing world. Just whilst we get a slight quiet period going on at the Etihad, let's just check back in with some of the action from yesterday's games. And one of those games featured Chelsea in a London derby against Brentford. Now, if you remember the game at Stamford Bridge, Brentford came away with all 3 points. This time at the GTEC Community Stadium, Brentford and Chelsea couldn't be separated. 2-apiece was the final score, including a goal for a certain Vincent Jackson, who caught up with us here on Football Live.
Yeah, I think we deserve more because the first half we played really good, but I guess the second half they came harder, and I guess because we played 2 games in 4 days, so I think some players were tired, but we wanted to win, but with the point, we just moved forward and tried to win the next games. Yeah, I was surprised because they came with different intentions to win. We came to win, but when they scored, a lot of players like us were nervous, but later we scored 1 and we wanted to win the game, but unfortunately we drew, so it's a good point.
A good point indeed in the end for Chelsea. It was Nicholas Jackson, not Vincent Jackson, who is, of course, an NFL wide receiver and not a football player for Chelsea. Apologies. So Chelsea getting a valuable point against Brentford, but it doesn't put their chances of qualifying for Europe through traditional methods or through the league placings any good at all. They sit very far back in the table. There's a dangerous free kick for Manchester City and a booking, I believe, for Varane. That's going to hear about that incident from Andre Bonacourt.
Yes, it was actually Erling Haaland was played through on goal. He had Raphael Varane in front of him. He just knocked the ball past Varane, and Varane, kind of the old pro that he is, stood his ground and kind of body checked the Norwegian striker to stop him going through. So City about to take the free kick, but Johnny Evans is now being replaced by Willy Camboila. I have to say, Johnny Evans, I think, has been absolutely fantastic. He's probably the main reason, along with Varane, why we hadn't heard from Erling Haaland at all in the game, apart from that horrendous miss in the first half. So we'll see what happens with the free kick, but with just coming up to 20 minutes to go, it's still City 1, United 1.
Indeed, Kevin De Bruyne looks pretty much with intent that it's going to be his. Bernardo Silva standing alongside him as well. It finished in the game in the Women's Super League. West Ham 1, Manchester United 1. A late equaliser for Asayi, giving a share of the spoils for the Hammers. Williams' early goal after 4 minutes had given Manchester United the lead in that game. Similar to how things are playing out in the Etihad Stadium, where it's currently Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1. That free kick came to nothing, hitting the wall and harmlessly going away from goal. We heard from Nicholas Jackson on the 2-2 draw for Chelsea at Brentford. But how about Mauricio Pochettino? How did he feel his side fared after getting that valuable draw at the GTEC Community Stadium?
After the first half, I think that 45 minutes, I think we were very good. I think we controlled the game and was about to keep pushing and playing in the same way. I think they increased the level of the aggressivity and they start to win duels and to play more direct. We were not in this moment consistent in to try, to defend better. And when we concede, it started, change the game. In this moment, change the game, and I think the belief of them increased. But I think overall, we were better side, but you need to score in some moment, key moment, in a very difficult place. But after 6 days that we compete in three games, very tough 3 games, I think the effort was massive. Was difficult in the second half to keep the same energy.
Difficult indeed. Chelsea had a big week, of course, losing in the cup final to Liverpool before going through to the FA Cup quarter-finals and then getting that draw with Brentford yesterday afternoon. And let's go and check in at the Etihad Stadium where another strike was testing the palms of Onana.
Yes, I said in the first half, Dean, that Kyle Walker was sometimes having forays forward to try and just cause a bit of confusion, create a bit of chaos for that Man United defence. And he found himself just on the edge of the D. The ball was played back to him, and he smashed the ball with a great deal of power. Would be amazing to have a third goal in this game along the same lines as we've had for the first two. But although he did strike it well, got a great deal of power behind it, it was just to Onana's right-hand side, and the Manchester United goalkeeper very comfortably just plucking the ball out of the air and then doing the old classic goalkeeper drop onto the ball to waste a few more seconds. So City trying a few different things, but Manchester City holding firm. It's still that solid block of 6 with a solid block of 4 in front of them. But on occasion, they are getting the opportunity to break, and when they do get that chance, if they want to get all 3 points, they've really got to try and create a goal-scoring opportunity rather than just using those breaks to soak up a little bit of time. So still with 18 minutes left to go. It's still at the Etihad Stadium. It's still Man City 1, Man United 1.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. Let's go and check in once more for the last time this afternoon with John Kane to get the very latest odds powered by NairaBet.
Here's John Kane with all the very latest odds from NairaBet.
Yes, all the latest odds from NairaBet. Of course, all these prices are subject to change. 73 minutes gone and still Manchester City 1, Manchester United 1. Manchester City now are 1.67. In fact, it just got up to 1.70 for for Manchester City's win. The draw has gone down to 2.62, and if you fancy Manchester United to win this game, they are 12.0. Goal-wise, if you think it's be over 2.5 goals in the match, which is just one more goal, that's 1.40, and if you think it's over 3.5 goals, it's 2.30. Players wise, we mentioned Haaland a few times. Any player to score at any time, Rodri at the moment, he's on 7.0. Alvarez is 5.50, and Erling Haaland at the moment, he is on, wait for it, and I can't find it. Let me just go for Kevin De Bruyne. He's 8.50 to score any time. And for some reason, and Erling Haaland, if you think he's going to score in a game, regardless if it's next or the last one, is gone up to 3.10. So just to recap quickly on the main odds, now they've gone down to 11.0 to win away. The draw is 2.50, and Manchester City to win the game are 1.75. Of course, all these prices are from Nairabet, and it's all subject to change.
Great stuff. Thank you, as always, John. The goal scorer for Manchester United, Marcus Rashford, has made way. Anthony has come on in his place for the remaining 15 minutes or so at the Etihad. We're in the closing stages in the Liga. Atletico Madrid 2, Real Betis 1 is to the latest score. Atletico Madrid led by 2-0 and also missed from the penalty spot, but William Carvalho's goal on just after the hour mark has made it a nervy ending here for Atletico Madrid, who were cruising to victory at the interval. We're into the second half in the game in the Turkish Super League. It's Besiktas 0, Galatasaray 1 in the Eredivisie. Excelsior have just pulled a goal back against Sittard. It's Sittard 4, Excelsior 1. So maybe just a bit of consolation and maybe the start of the quite remarkable comeback in the Eredivisie. Full-time scores in the Nigerian Premier League: Lobi Stars 2, Katsina United 0, Plateau United 2, Blendell 0. Both full-time scores. We're deep in stoppage time in the other two games: Heartland 1, Sunshine Stars 1, and Niger Tornadoes 0, Enugu Rangers 2. I'll give you the full times as soon as the final whistle goes in those two games. Half-time in... we're into the second half of all of the games of Confederation Cup. In fact, a full-time whistle has gone between Heartland Stars and Sunshine Stars. It has finished a goal apiece in that one. It's half-time in France. Rennes 0, Lorient 0 is a half-time score with 10 minutes to go for the interval. It's Hoffenheim 1, Werder Bremen 0, and it's just kicked off in Serie A. 6 minutes gone, Atalanta 0, Bologna 0 is a latest score. Let's go and check back in at the Etihad Stadium. Manchester United making a change. Anthony coming on for Rashford. Does it change things up at all, Andrew?
Not so far, but it's going to be interesting to see what Anthony's brief has been. Rashford has had he could have gone off after 8 minutes and still would be one of United's best players. Such was the contribution purely from that goal. But there were a few times, I think you mentioned a couple of times, where Rashford was doing good work in defence. Not sure whether that's necessarily Anthony's game. So this is a big test for the young Brazilian. Again, he's not had the best of seasons so far for Man United, and I just wonder what the instructions are for Anthony from Ten Hag. So far, he's been almost camped on the edge of his own penalty box, but when United do get a chance to release him, I just wonder whether he's going to be looking to play on the toes of the Man City defenders. So far, a lot of work for him to do coming back and tracking back, and he's just an extra body in that Man United defensive wall. But now Rashford is off, you would probably guess that Anthony is the most likely to be the target for that outlet ball over the top. But we'll have to see how that pans out. More of the same with another shot going nearer Onana. But yeah, so far, City, I have to say, in the last 10-15 minutes, they've been fairly ineffective. Man United may just go all the way and get a precious and valuable point for them. They did have all three in the bag, of course, but City have wrestled one of those back. But yeah, chances for Anthony to show some value to the United fans that he hasn't necessarily shown them so far. We're coming up to 12 minutes to go, and still Man City 1, Man United 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. There is a VAR check going on for a possible Manchester United penalty. I looked at it in real time. I thought it was great goalkeeping from Edison. I think VAR has just checked it and confirmed my initial thought it's not going to be a penalty. Let's go and check in again with Andrew and just to get his thoughts. He was talking to me on the air when that happened. So can you just describe what you saw for us?
Yeah, the ball was played. Garnacho was played through in the inside left channel, and as he got into the City box, there's no question of a penalty at all. It was an excellent sliding challenge by Edison, who led foot first, potentially studs up. It was a slightly reckless challenge, but he got the ball way ahead of getting any piece of Garnacho. But Garnacho, I'm not sure what he was trying to do. It looked like he got to the ball first. All he had to do was dink the ball over the Man City keeper, and he was going to be absolutely wiped out by Edison. And that definitely would have been a penalty. So I think possibly a little bit of inexperience from the Argentinian winger and the Brazilian keeper showing all of his experience. But that could have gone Man United's way. But as you say, an excellent piece of goalkeeping in the end by Edison. But again, warning signs for Man City that they can't just press and press and press. They do have to keep an eye on what happens if United do get the ball. Still 1-1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Still a goal apiece at the Etihad. It is no more. There's been a third goal.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
Well, Andrew mentioned that he's been the best player in a blue shirt for Manchester City. He's doubled his tally for the afternoon with his second of the day. It's Phil Foden, the man at the double to make it Manchester City 2, Manchester United 1. What a goal and what a contribution in front of Gareth Southgate for Phil Foden, Andrew Bonacori.
Absolutely. Phil Foden is becoming an all-round player. Another great goal from the local lad from Manchester, and he puts Manchester City 2-1 ahead. Finally, City have reached the United defensive wall in the second half, and a second goal for Phil Foden. Beautifully played in, but I think that goal was all about the pace of Foden. He spent so much time on the Man City right. This time, he cuts in from the left, plays the ball to Bernardo Silva, who gives the ball straight back to him, and he just gets himself a yard of space ahead of, I think it's Varane, who's just unable to track him, and he hammers the ball. Onana gets a glove to it. Potentially, dare I say, could have done better, but Onana's done so much work with the gloves and the feet so far this afternoon that he just couldn't keep that one out. I think that was potentially a bit of a goalkeeping blunder. Didn't get his left glove down enough or quickly enough to keep out the shot from Foden. It went across him. He did get a hand to it, but it just kind of flicked down onto the turf and up into the far side. Wow, 9 minutes to go. Pep is jubilant. The City fans are jubilant. Can City go on for more goals? Dare they try for more goals? Or are United actually going to spend the next 10 minutes really going at City? Time will tell. 10 minutes to go. It's now Man City 2, Man United 1.
Thank you, Andrew. That's his 18th goal of the season, his best return best return in his career, and he has been a vital part of this title charge for this Manchester City team. Manchester United made a double change. Amrabat, a very forgotten man, has come on for Kobe Mainoo. And the youngster Amari Forson, who made his debut in that defeat to Fulham last time out, has come on instead of Alejandro Garnacho. So a double change for Erik ten Hag. Perhaps they are looking to go in search of an equaliser. I did mention with John Kane before this game started, over 3.5 goals was my shout. He gave the odds at the time, which was 4.05, and we're a goal away from that with 8 minutes remaining. Potentially, that's could well be on the cards in this one. Manchester City with 25 shots in this game, 7 of which have been on target. Manchester United, just the 2 efforts still, and just that 1 Marcus Rashford goal on target to show for their efforts. It has been one-way traffic. There was a rather unflattering shot of Garnacho sitting on the bench after being taken off. He was enjoying the fruits of his nostrils, is probably the best way I can say that one, as Manchester City are pushing and probing and looking for a third goal at the Etihad that's going to join Andre Bonacore once more. It really is starting to become a dominant performance for the home side.
Yes, and finally, all of that possession, all of those chances have seen Man City finally take the lead. Would you believe it? No one would have said that City would only take the lead with 9 minutes to go, but that's exactly what's happened. That Man United defensive wall, so well drilled they were for the whole of the game so far, but they were stretched, and finally, Phil Foden, it took two pieces of wonderful skill and guile from the England man, as you say, in front of Gareth Southgate, to finally get Man City ahead. Now, we just wonder, I think City will just continue this relentless pressure, because it's potentially the best way to keep United penned in their own half and nullify the danger, which now, frankly, only comes from Anthony, but he's been called into defensive duty. United are stretched out a bit more up the field. They look like they have a bit more attacking intent, but unfortunately they don't have the personnel on the pitch to really take advantage of that. So I just wonder what United's approach to this will be. They've obviously got to try and stop City from scoring, but you could argue that they would say, maybe 2-1 isn't such a bad result, but they've got to try and get something from this game, and you may as well go down fighting, lose the game 3-1 as much as 2-1, but trying to get that important equalising goal in the last 5 minutes. It's going to be a fascinating and enthralling final 5 minutes, as the previous 85 have been. And at the Etihad Stadium, it's still Manchester City 2, Manchester United 1.
From the beginning.
Hit it, boys.
You are listening to Football Live and exclusive on Brila FM.
Join on the corner where the big boys play.
If you're betting on sports this week, why not make your money go further? Sign up to NairaBet for 11 days of risk-free betting. If your bet loses, you will get your stake back as a free bet up to 2,000 Naira. All you need to do is register a new account with NairaBet today and qualify to get up to 22,000 Naira in free bets. Visit www.nairabet.com/bonus for more information. General and free bet terms apply. Must be over 18. Must be KYC approved. Must place a qualifying bet. Bets must include football, tennis or basketball markets. Please gamble responsibly.
Take Brila anywhere, everywhere.
Yes, you can take Brila with you anywhere, everywhere.
The Brila app is available for free download. Available for download on Google Play and the Apple iTunes Store.
Coming up next Saturday on Football Live.
Yeah!
Arsenal against Brentford.
1, 2, 3, run it.
The Premier League, the Bundesliga,
Serie A, the Saudi Pro League, La Liga, French League 1.
Let it hit them.
around the grounds, chasing the goals.
Hello and a very good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody.
Absolute screamer.
Banging form
Into dreamland.
Oh my God, they were crying.
What was he doing in the box?
Check my phone, mate. He's not in there.
He looks thoroughly disgusted.
They've been absolutely brilliant. That's proper.
So much to tell you about.
So much going on.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
In the Premier League, you just never know.
You are listening to Football Live on Brilla FM 88.9 and 101.1 FM. Let's get back to the action on Football Live.
Hit it, boys.
Powered by NairaBet. This is Football Live with Dean Kilford.
Well, Hoffenheim have doubled their lead against Werder Bremen in the Bundesliga, and it's Maximilian Bayer with his second of the afternoon. It's half-time in that game as well, which means Hoffenheim will climb above their visitors this afternoon. It's a fifth goal for Sittard against Excelsior, and it's a goal for Rodrigo Guth to make it 5-1 on the day, and a big victory for the home side. African have taken the lead against Academica. It's 1-0 with about 30 minutes or so left to play in the Confederation Cup. It's Manchester City are laying siege to the Manchester United goal. Future FC scored a third against Al Hilal Benghazi. Rivers United 0, Dreams 1, and USM Alga 1, Supersport United 1. They're all later scores. About half an hour or so left to play in the Confederations Cup. There's also half hour to play in the game in the Turkish Super League. Besiktas 0, Galatasaray 1. And it's full time in Madrid. Atletico Madrid held on. They won by 2-1 against Real Betis. That result means that Atletico Madrid closed the gap on Barcelona to 2 points. And they've stretched the lead over Atletico Bilbao to 6 points in the race for the Champions League places. Let's go back to the Etihad Stadium. Manchester City taking on Manchester United. Quite the afternoon for Phil Foden, Andrew Podakuri.
Absolutely 2 goals in front of his adoring home fans and hopefully his adoring England manager. 2 really good goals, you've got to say. Rashford's will still be the pick of the crop. Such was the quality of that strike, but Foden has had a great contribution. I'd say in the first half himself and Doku did everything they could to try and stretch that United defence across the pitch, and occasionally Foden finding space to try and trouble Onana, but as we know, he did eventually get City on level terms and now has got them ahead, and he's getting, well, the crowd are singing his name. They absolutely love him here, and they're just delighted that they feel finally Pep Guardiola is taking Phil Foden seriously. They've always known what a talent he is, but now he's finally getting recognition from the manager. City using their possession and their pressure to try and keep hold of the ball. They're not obviously in such a rush to try and attack United as they were earlier on in the game, but United really have no option but to try and defend. A goal line clearance from Rafael Varane just a couple of moments ago, and another save from Onana. So City is still turning the screw as we enter into injury time, but United, I think, as an attacking force are pretty much spent as we do just tick away into injury time at the Etihad Stadium. It's still Manchester City 2, Manchester United 1.
Yeah, Andrew, it's going to be 8 additional minutes of stoppage time to be played. I was just thinking about the Phil Foden, and maybe actually Pep Guardiola has done England a favour. So often have we had our young players burnt out by playing 2 games at too young an age. Maybe with the way that Foden has played little games, maybe that's the exact right thing to do. In fact, there has been a 4th goal at the Etihad.
The goals, powered by NairaBet.
I said you should have put money on over 3.5 goals. You'd have been in with the winner once more. Erling Haaland has made it Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1. Terrible error at the back for Manchester United, gifting an opportunity for Manchester City, and in particular Erling Haaland. He may have missed an absolute sitter earlier. He made no mistake with this one, did he, Andrew Budakuri?
Thankfully, no mistake at all, but absolutely awful play from Amrabat. I lose count of the number of times since he joined on loan from Fiorentina that he's given possession away and seems so slow to try and track back and regain possession. He just doesn't seem that bothered about giving the ball away. Onana played the ball out. Amrabat just dithering on the ball and tried to play a pass out wide. That was cut out and immediately played through to Haaland. Amrabat was already committed. Varane couldn't get across, and Haaland, thankfully, this time took his opportunity and played it past Onana. The final nail in the coffin, really, for Manchester United. And, well, I've got to say that goal spares Erling Haaland's blushes, because so far, before this goal, the 3rd goal for Man City, Haaland's only contribution was that extraordinary miss in first half stoppage time. And exactly 45 minutes later, the big Norwegian gets his goal, and Manchester City's 3rd to get the scoreline looking a little bit more along the lines of what we expected. It's now Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1.
Erling Haaland's 18th Premier League goal of the season has given Manchester City a comfortable lead in this one. And it's, as you said, Andrew, more along the lines of what we're expecting, and all of those callers that called you up, FJ, saying not to worry, Manchester City will turn this game around. Well, they've done it, and they've done it in style. A Phil Foden-inspired double has been added onto with another typical Erling Haaland goal. Rivers United have equalised against Dreams in the Confederations Cup. Achita has scored on the hour mark to make it 1 apiece in that one, as Manchester City go on search for yet another goal. Lorient have taken the lead away at Rennes in Ligue 1. Bamba with the goal on the hour mark as well. The 59th minute, a very popular minute for goals in Europe. We're into the 4th minute of added time at the Etihad. Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1. All 3 points going the way of the citizens. It would put them to within a point again of league leaders Liverpool. For Manchester United, it would leave them 6 points adrift of 5th place Tottenham Hotspur, and more importantly 11 points adrift of 4th place Aston Villa, and they would have played a game more than Tottenham as well in the race for those Champions League places. Maybe, just maybe, that may be the final nail in the coffin of their Champions League aspirations. Let's go back and join Andrew Bonacure, where Manchester City are 4.5 to score the next goal. They say, of course, subject to change by Norabet.
Yes, and certainly not beyond them, because United they're a spent force, and I've got to say they are broken now. They worked so hard. They did a great job, you have to say, going ahead very much against the odds early on, and they worked so hard to try and keep that advantage. But this City pressure and this City constant attacking was just too much for Manchester United. I said it would be difficult to continue that tactic for the whole of the game, and so it has proven to be. But with about 4 minutes left of injury time in the second half, with it very much a celebratory tone at the Etihad, and this is what everybody expected. This is what the citizens expected. This is what the Etihad expected, and now finally even Pep might allow himself a smile and start to celebrate, because as we run the clock down with the last 3 minutes of injury time at the end of the second half, it's Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1.
Great stuff. Thank you very much, Andrew. Of course, we mentioned Liverpool, we mentioned Manchester City. The other team in the title race are Arsenal. They're in action tomorrow evening against Sheffield United. And we caught up with Mikel Arteta ahead of that trip. And here's what he had to say about that game against Sheffield United and on Thomas Partey.
Yeah, Thomas had a session before the game, the last game, and now he's done 2-3 consecutive sessions, so he should be part of the squad on Monday.
What about your opponents on Monday evening, Sheffield United?
Yeah, a really difficult team to beat, and you watch, and I watch 4 or 5 games now. With the City game, the way they started against Villa, and then obviously the game took a different route, but as you mentioned, they are extremely well coached. I know Chris really well, and I admire his teams and a lot of things that he does with them. It will be Monday Night Football, and it's going to be a tough night.
Will it be a tough night against rock bottom Sheffield United? Recent form suggests it should be an easy evening for free scoring Arsenal away at goal leaking Sheffield United. They've conceded 66 already in the league this season. Arsenal have already scored 62, which is a league high, alongside Manchester City, who have just levelled with Arsenal this season. The away fans that have made the short trip across to the Etihad have started to vacate their seats at the Etihad. Not many Manchester United fans staying behind to salute the efforts of their team. Excelsior have just pulled another goal back against Sittard. Sittard 5, Excelsior 2 is a latest score. Let's go and rejoin Andre. I love calling you Andre today. Andrew Bonacure. Phil Foden been replaced, and he received a standing ovation, and rightly so.
Yeah, absolutely. He's by some distance the man of the match, and it's so good for him to have the adulation of his home fans, and he got a standing ovation, as you said, as he limped around the pitch after being substituted. Oscar Bob taking his place. The clock running down, but definitely this was Phil Foden's day, and definitely Manchester City's day, still leading 3-1 with seconds to go.
Thank you. It was Oscar Bob that came on to replace Phil Foden, who received, as I said, a standing ovation. The Manchester City fans are still standing all around the Etihad. There is a free kick, though, for Manchester United in a dangerous position, but it is too little, too late. You feel we're already into the 9th minute of added time. Just 8 were added. Future FC have scored a 4th against Al Hilal Benghazi in the Confederation Cup. 4-0 is the scoreline there. The full-time whistle has gone at the Etihad. The free kick came to nothing. It's finished Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1. 2 goals for Phil Foden, a goal for Erling Haaland turns what was a half-time deficit after Marcus Rashford's thunderbolt had given Manchester United a shock half-time lead. Atalanta have just taken the lead against Bologna as well. Ademola Lookman, the Nigerian, has scored for Atalanta, a big goal for them as they look to progress up towards the top Champions League places in Serie A. In fact, that would see them leapfrog Bologna into those places, into 4th place and that final remaining Champions League place. Let's go and hear from Andrew Bonacore once more and just try and surmise that for us. It was not really a game of two halves. It was a game of Manchester City completely dominating, but the result of the 2 halves were completely different.
Absolutely, it was a Marcus Rashford goal on 8 minutes, picking up on a pinpoint pass from Bruno Fernandes and smashing the ball thundering in off the underside of the bar to shock the Etihad and put United ahead. An unbelievable miss from City number 9 Erling Haaland in first half stoppage time had us wondering if everything was going to go United's way, but City levelled on 56 when Bernardo Silva worked the ball over to the City right to Foden, who cut inside and unleashed a perfect left-footed strike into Onana's top left-hand corner. On 79, Foden ahead, City again for the first time in the match. Then, in second half stoppage time, Haaland made up for that earlier miss to take advantage of a horrible blunder from Amrabat to make it 3-1 to City. It took them a while to get going, but City finally got the job done, and at the Etihad Stadium it finished Man City 3, Man United 1.
Thank you very much, Andrew. What an afternoon we've had here on Football Live. Once more, it started with the North London derby in the WSL. Arsenal 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0 was the full-time score. Burnley lost at home again by 2-0 against Bournemouth, who completed the double over the Clarets. PSV Eindhoven and Feyenoord, the top 2 in the Eredivisie, played out a 2-2 draw, which sees a 10-point gap remain at the top of the table. Empoli lost at home to Calgary. Their 6-game unbeaten run comes to an end, and the relegation dogfight is really heating up in Serie A. Cologne, FC Köln, and Bayer Leverkusen. It finished 2-0, so the visitors Bayer Leverkusen stretched the lead at the top of the table to 10 points from Bayern Munich. And as you just heard from Andrew Bonacore, Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1. Manchester City just a point now off league leaders Liverpool. It is all to play for, all the goals as they go in from all the games around Europe with the best reporters in the business. It is Football Live. You've been listening to Dean Kilford. We'll go back to FJ and the team in Lagos. We'll see you again next Saturday. Thanks for listening.
You have been listening to Football Live, exclusive to Brula FM, sponsored by NairaBet.